he's got going on, he's my guy.
Time for today's pre-race ceremonies from here in Martinsville.
At this time, we ask that you please rise as you are able and remove your hats as the Churchland High School MC Junior ROTC Color Guard presents our nation's colors. Here to offer today's invocation, please welcome driver the number 6 in the NASCAR Cup Series, Brad Keselowski.
Will you please join me for a minute of prayer? God, we just want to thank you for this beautiful day of racing you provided for us here in Martinsville. We recognize all the pain that goes on in our world, and we're thinking about those who are suffering this week in Maine, abroad, and in our own lives. Events like today help us remember there's also so much good in the United States, world, and our lives, and we appreciate the time we get to have here together to compete and relax. I pray that it may be a great day, a safe day, full of good memories for our fans, our track workers, and competitors. I pray that you may continue to bless our first responders and military who have protected our freedoms required for us to have the right to be here today and in future days to come. Finally, Lord, we are all very much such a work in progress. I pray you may help each and every one here to be the best they can be and that their efforts may honor you. Amen.
And now to perform our national anthem, please welcome the Ferrum College Bluegrass Brass Explosion Band.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
On the other side, Dale Jr. will show us how the curlers here at Martinsville are a game changer. It's time to get the engine started to decide the championship four next here on USA.
Didn't realize till just now that the mic was muted there for a second. Sorry for that. We just played the national anthem, but appreciate everybody tuning into today's Den on Tools 250 at the Martinsville Speedway for today's NASCAR Xfinity Series penultimate race of the season. We have just 2 races to go, 1 race into seeing who will be the 4 drivers racing for a championship next weekend at Phoenix Raceway. And we do have 1 driver that is already locked into the championship 4. That was based off of a win in last week's race. That would be Sam Mayer getting a win at Homestead, his first career win on an oval, pole vaulting him into the championship 4. If you look at the rest of the point standings, though, beyond Sam Mayer, John Hunter Nemechek comes in pretty comfortable above the cutoff line, 44 points to the good. Cole Custer and Austin Hill at plus 3 points to the good to start this race today. That's going to be a fun points battle to watch as they are just 3 points ahead of Justin Allgaier, who is barely on the outside looking in. Sammy Smith is minus 49 points, minus 54 points for Chandler Smith, and minus 65 points for Sheldon Creed. Although Sheldon Creed is the only driver mathematically in a situation where he has to win the race to get into the championship 4, more than likely it'll be a must-win situation for Chandler Smith and Sammy Smith as well. As we look at the point standings here today, time to look at now the starting lineup for the race. Sammy Smith, as we just mentioned, pretty much in a must-win situation, will be starting on the pole. Justin Allgaier to the outside of the front row for the start. Cole Custer, Riley Herbst in row 2 for Stuart Haas Racing. They have brought fast cars to the racetracks the last couple of weeks, a mile and a half. So we'll see how that translates to the paperclip today. John Hunter Nemechek and Brandon Jones will start in row number 3. Chandler Smith, Sheldon Creed in row 4. Austin Hill and Parker Retzlaff in row number 5. Myatt Snyder, Josh Berry in row 6. Row number 7 will be Ryan Sieg and Daniel Hemrick. Parker Kligerman and Brett Moffitt in row 8. Sam Mayer, Josh Balicki in row 9. Lane Riggs in the 11 car for Colleague Racing today on the inside of row 10 with Jeremy Clements to his outside. J.J. Haley will be in the 4 car today for JD Motorsports in the inside of row 11. And Anthony Alfredo again at BJ McLeod Motorsports to his outside. Kaz Grala and Josh Williams will line up in row number 12. Connor Mosag, Raja Caruth, in row 13. Brennan Poole and Kyle Sieg in row 14 with Jeffrey Earnhardt and Chad Fincham in row 15. Blaine Perkins and Ryan Ellis will line up in row 16 today with Joe Graff Jr. and CJ McLaughlin in row 17. Chris Hacker and Akinori Ogata in row number 18. Devin Jones, Jeb Burton going to round out the 38 car field today in row number 19. For more late pre-race updates, here is the NBC booth. You can watch this race on the USA Network as well today. If you're wondering for any visual footage of the race, we'll have our full live commentary coverage, flag-to-flag coverage as usual, coming up as soon as the green flag drops on the stream. Appreciate everybody again tuning in here today.
Down at Martinsville. Oh, you gotta love Martinsville Speedway. The short track in Southwest Virginia always delivers big time with the drama. What will happen today? Before we get things going, let's check in with Kim Coon.
Well, Marty, at 54 points below the elimination line, Chandler Smith is one of 3 drivers who find themselves in a must-win situation if they want to compete for a title in Phoenix. So they got to do one thing, get to victory lane. But they didn't feel like they had a winning car yesterday in practice. That Chevy was way too loose. Chandler and crew chief Bruce Slicker sat on the pit wall for over an hour yesterday after practicing qualifying, trying to workshop how to get that car better. They came up with a game plan. We'll see if it pays off here today. They roll off in the 7th position.
Kim, even though John Hunter Nemechek is plus 44 to the cut line coming into today's race, that is no guarantee of advancing to the championship 4. And yes, they dominated in April, leading 198 out of 250 laps. But crew chief Ben Bayshore reminded me that the 00 and the 18 were on our heels all day long, and they both out-qualified John Hunter this afternoon. He starts 5th today, trying to get to Phoenix in the championship 4, Marty.
So, Jeff, one spot. A season's worth of work could come down to one spot tonight. What is acceptable and what is not when it comes to getting to the championship 4?
Every driver has their own code, Marty, and they all are individual and unique, and that code gets pushed to its limit with this point system. What are you willing to live with after you've done it? That's what you have to ask yourself. You've worked your whole life to get here. This is a chance to win a championship. So your morals, your values, and what you think is acceptable, they will be constantly challenged all day.
If you were behind the wheel and that one spot got you to the championship 4, would you wreck someone?
I would move them out of the way. I'd do my best not to wreck them, but I would move them out of the way. We've seen that at Martinsville forever. I don't see why that's going to change today.
And just apologize afterwards because, after all, it is about making it to Phoenix with a shot to win a title in the championship 4 on next Saturday for the Xfinity Series. Let's get the engines cranked here in Martinsville.
Martinsville Speedway, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Are you ready to get the Dead on Tools 250 started? Here to give you command the fire engines is president of Dead on Tools, Tony Rinaldo. Take it away, Tony.
NASCAR Nation! Welcome to Martinsville Speedway for the Dead on Tools 250 Sprint to the finish. Now everyone in the stands and the millions watching from home, stand up with me, get loud, and help me say those famous words. Here we go, folks. Dragon! Shout your
Martinsville Speedway has one of the most unique features of any racetrack right here. These curves on the inside of the turns in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 have been giving drivers fits for over 50 years. Sometimes it feels like the only way to get around the driver is to go through them. And that means a lot of excitement here in Martinsville. In Martinsville, the playoffs, man, that's lightning in a bottle. It's a prize fight in a full booth, and now it's time
Getting closer and closer to the drop of the green flag in today's Dead on Tools 250. Thanks for everybody tuning in to this afternoon's stream, the second to last one for the NASCAR Xfinity Series side this season. Quick shout out to those of you that are in the chat waiting for the start of the race here today that are tuning into the stream already. That goes out to JoJo, Sabna C, Patty and Rundy Creations, Mark Witkowski, Terry Lewis. Let's see who else we have up here. Frank Powers, Michael Turner, Bond1771, Susan Greenland, JoJo, and others. Welcome into the stream, everybody. Poll is already up in the chat for who you think will win today's race. You have votes between John Hunter Nemechek, Cole Custer, Justin Allgaier, or you can pick other if you don't think any one of those three drivers will win this race today. 21 votes have already been casted in the first few minutes of this afternoon's stream. You'll have until the end of stage 2 per usual to cast your vote for who you think will win of those four options. Just over 60 people watching right now. Already 20 likes on the stream. Our goal is to get to 100 likes on today's stream. First of two races this weekend. Tomorrow's NASCAR Cup Series live commentary stream will begin at 1:30 Eastern Time with our pre-race coverage prior to the drop of the green flag for the 500 lap NASCAR Cup Series race in Martinsville, the one that we've all been waiting for since the playoffs began, the penultimate race to decide who will be the drivers racing for a championship at Phoenix. Of course, we have that same scenario here today with the NASCAR Xfinity Series. We quickly, at the very start of the stream, blew through the point standings, but we'll talk a little bit more in depth about each of these drivers and how their playoffs have gone so far. As mentioned, Sam Mayer locked into the championship 4 with a win last weekend at Homestead, so it doesn't really matter what goes on for himself today. I'm sure he's probably hoping that his teammate Justin Allgaier can get in, so Junior Motorsport has a 50% chance to win the championship. Although they had three drivers in the championship 4 last year, they got beat out by the one Joe Gibbs Toyota in the championship 4 of Ty Gibbs last season. This season, there are two Joe Gibbs Toyotas still in the hunt for the championship. Pole sitter Sammy Smith in a must-win situation is 49 points below the cutoff line. More than likely, he's not going to be able to point his way in, so needs to stay out in the front of the field for most of the race today. And John Hunter Nemechek, even if we get somebody below the cutoff line to win the race today, is still very much in a very, very comfortable situation to make his way on points through this round of the playoffs. He's 44 points to the good, and I would probably say that he has a very good chance of locking himself up in these first two stages, not even having to necessarily worry about what goes on in the final stage of the race. Cole Custer, Austin Hill, Justin Allgaier. Those are three drivers that are within 3 points of each other, only two of which are going to get in off of points. Maybe only one, depending on exactly who ends up winning this race today. If Sammy Smith, Chandler Smith, or Sheldon Creed win today's race, then only one of Custer, Hill, or Allgaier will get in. Stage points are going to be very important for those drivers at the start of the race today, all of which qualified in the top 4 rows of today's race. And we'll turn it over once again to the USA Network for more pre-race updates leading up to the drop of the green flag.
Hey, man, I know there's a lot of them live, but you looked cool down on the grid. I was just down there. What's the emotion, the confidence heading into the race?
Yeah, ready to go. Very confident. Got a really fast car, so gotta execute all day, know what things, and go take their body.
Well, Dale Jr. described this place as a prize fight in a phone booth. Is that what it feels like behind the wheel? Close contact, close quarters?
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely how I would describe it as well. So, it's going to be a tough day here with the shooting up at the racetrack and a lot of good cars. So, we're going to stay on top of it and we'll be in good position again.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. Good luck. We'll be watching all day.
Yes, thank you, guys.
It is close quarters, Marty, but if you're ever going to do anything, you want to start up front. Sammy Smith will roll off from the pole position. If he's able to make it to Phoenix, that would give him the #1 pit stall a week from today.
Yeah, best seat in the house for the 18 team. Let's take you through the starting lineup brought to you by Get On Tools. Beginning with rows 1 through 5, we'll focus on Justin Allgaier, who told me earlier today this is the most stressful day of the year. I know it will be a heads-up battle with Austin Hill and Cole Custer, but what I love about our team is that Jim Pullman, as crew chief, is willing to try things others are not. A good example, Martinsville. In the spring, their car was not great. In fact, Allgaier said probably about a 20th place car, but they stayed out on a late caution when everyone else pitted, and they finished 6th. They moved like that today, Kim. Could be the ticket to the championship 4.
Well, Marty, Sam Mayer starting all the way back in row 9 at 17th position. That car was just sliding around and qualifying. That's actually the lowest of any playoff driver starting position
NASCAR Pascarella, starting in row number 12. Had a good run here in the spring. 15th he finished, and he's had a strong season overall. He's a 24-year-old from Boston. Speaking of Boston, how about South Boston, Virginia? Yes, Jeff Burton at the rear of the field has family roots there, but he also will be starting from the back because they had a radiator issue in the 27, did not make a qualifying lap, and so has to go tail of the field. Be fun to watch him come from there, and he'll have to deal with pit road like everyone else, Dale Jr.
That's right, and we talked about how important that number one pit stop is, and that actually belongs to Cole Custer today. This is a very narrow pit road. If you're back in the field, there'll be a lot of checkups, a lot of contact, and problems all day long trying to get on and off pit road. But if Cole Custer can maintain his track position, he'll have an easy in and a much easier exit off of pit road than any other car. He doesn't want to be here many times, but he wants to take advantage of this number one stall.
Appreciate it, Junior. As he is down there on pit road, he'll be up here in the booth to call the race in just a moment. Let's have a look at the Ruoff Mortgage keys to victory lane, Steve.
Well, easier said than done. The first thing is don't make mistakes and take advantage of others' mistakes. People will be pressed into situations. Be patient and capitalize. That's number two. Patience, patience, patience. As a crew chief, keep reminding your driver because they will lose them. And then that final stage. It's long. It's 130 laps. You can make it on fuel. But every race, it seems like it's going to need a pit stop. Which of the probably multiple yellows will you get? When's the last set of tires you want to put on your race car?
Well, Steve, the three drivers that are all separated by 3 points, let's hear what their pep talks are. We'll start with the 0-0 of Cole Custer.
It's the reason why we worked all year to put ourselves in a position to have a moment like this. So let's enjoy it, have some fun, go out here and do what we do. That's the plan. We've been good enough all year. Just got to do what we've done all year, and should be right there at the end. You know what you got to do here, and no penalties, no mistakes. Just do everything that we know how to do, and we'll come out of this where we need to be and give ourselves a chance next week. And I am proud of this race team. I don't know if I can ask for anything better. We got a great race car today. We are gonna point or win our way into this.
That was the driver talking right there, Justin Allgaier, and he is the one that is 3 points back. So Allgaier 3 points behind Custer and Hill right now for one spot in the championship 4. That's where they get a race for a title.
I know we've talked about it the entire pre-race, but just a reminder, a win and you advance. So pole sitter, Sammy Smith, you see him in 6th, 49 points behind. If he wins this race, he moves up. So now you have Mayer, Nemechek probably 3 on points, Sammy Smith with a win, or Chandler Smith or Creed. That means that there's really only one spot for Custer, Austin Hill, or Allgaier. Marty, that is why it's going to be so tough to count points.
And one of those drivers right at the cut line is Austin Hill, who does not have his normal crew chief Andy Street here this weekend because after the race at Miami, the team had 2 loose lug nuts. That means Andy Street is back at the war room at Richard Childress Racing. So who's on top of the pit box? How about Mike Shiplett? He has 24 Xfinity Series wins, but much of his success came with Cole Custer, who Austin Hill is racing heads up today. In fact, Shiplett and Custer worked together for 5 years, won 7 Xfinity Series races, and he was his Cup Series crew chief, where they won as well. Nobody knows Cole Custer's game better than Mike Shiplett, who's on the box with a competitor today, Austin Hill.
And I know, his normal crew chief's back in the war room, but it's just a different voice on the radio, a different tone, different tempo. You kind of fit, that relationship kind of becomes, hand in hand. So Shiplett more than qualified. It's just going to be one more change for Austin Hill.
Lights are off on the pace car. Next time around, we will see the green flag. Again, these playoff drivers varying in age from 37 years old, Justin Allgaier, the veteran, to Sammy Smith, just 19 years old. Think about the pressure that these drivers are facing. Just in front of them, the opportunity for a title.
No better track to determine the championship for. Racing was built on short tracks, built on this short track. I love the fact that this is it. The whole season for these 8 drivers, or 7 that are still vying for those spots, comes down to today.
Sammy Smith.
Pace car's going to head to pit road, and Sammy Smith is about to lead the field to the green flag. He's elected the inside lane for this initial start of the race, and on the outside of the front row is the driver who is minus 3 points below the cutoff line of Justin Allgaier. Green flag is in the air. Smith gets a great launch. Allgaier does not. Into the first turn goes the field. Sammy Smith easily clear in the bottom lane. Custer trying to take away second from Allgaier. Goes up off that curve just a little bit. Did not get a great drive off. And Allgaier will hang on for second place as he jumps down to the bottom in front of Custer. And a fight for the bottom will continue with very little rubber built up on this racetrack right now, with only practice and qualifying for the Cup and Xfinity Series already today. There has not been any actual races on this racetrack with the Truck Series having off this week. Allgaier, after getting to the inside lane in front of Custer, slipped up a bit in turns 3 and 4. Custer gets underneath him off of turn 4 on lap 1, stays door-to-door into turns 3 and 4 again on lap 2, and they're still side-by-side for second place now as Sammy Smith has led the first 2 laps of the race. Sheldon Creed trying to fight for the bottom right on top of his teammate, Austin Hill, making a little bit of contact. Hill struggles to pick up the throttle there off turn 2. Almost allowed for the 19 car to get underneath them there as well. Myatt Snyder driving the 19 for Joe Gibbs Racing again today. Not a lot of grip built up in that outside lane. It is going to be a fight for the bottom for the first stage of this race, and maybe even all the way through the second stage before we start to see the groove widen out and the passing become a little bit more harder as we get closer to the end of this race today. Used to seeing this race being 300 laps, but this year, the fall Martinsville race for the Xfinity Series reduced down to 250 laps. Even less time for some of those drivers in a must-win situation to try to work themselves to the front of the field, although one of them is already there. Of Sammy Smith, great qualifying effort for him to get him that track position early on. One car is around off of turn 2 at the back of the pack, bringing out our first caution of the day. It is the 38 car. And I believe that is Kyle Sieg, if I'm not mistaken. Excuse me, Joe Graff Jr. So Joe Graff Jr. has spun. Flat left rear tire for him. And once again, that brings out our first caution of the race today at lap 6 at Martinsville.
For a left rear tire that goes down, and around goes Joe Graff Jr., bringing out this first caution. That means another restart here at Martinsville. We'll see it on the other side.
I'd imagine that tire was cut down virtue of contact at the back of the pack from those opening laps of the race. So the composite bodies on the NASCAR Xfinity Series cars, and now that we see even in the Cup Series side, it takes quite a bit of contact for you to actually rub a tire down. I think it's more likely to have a tire go down on a restart, though, with the air pressure starting out a little bit lower as it is. Then you get a little bit of a puncture on top of that. I could see it easily leaking air. That might have been the case for the 38 of Joe Graff Jr. at the back of the pack. So again, that brings out the first caution of the race today. Sammy Smith has led the first 5 laps from the pole. Justin Allgaier into second place in the early going. Cole Custer third. John Nemechek fourth, and Riley Herbst currently rounding out the top 5. Should be a quick cleanup caution, and then we should get back to the racing here very, very shortly. Why is J.J. Yaley still in the car? Experience. Experience for a lot of these smaller teams. Reduce the price of the tickets or just the laps? That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't look at ticket prices for this weekend. I haven't run to Martinsville in a couple years. I know they reduced the race 50 laps. Which is strange considering that there's only 2 races there this weekend instead of 3. Robert Perkle, Rowdy Fan 8. Milioso. NASCAR Justin Kent, Ethan Chua, T. Van, Sid Vick, Candy Cox, Saquon Randolph, and others. Welcome into the stream.
And by Progressive Insurance. For a job you'll love, visit progressive.com/careers. Sammy Smith started on pole, has led the 8 laps that have been run. On lap 6, the caution came out for Joe Graff Jr. And so now the drivers will decide inside, outside, as far as what starting position they want. Joe Graff Jr. came to pit road, changed the left rear tire.
Rick, I think that's a difficult decision. We saw it racing to the bottom after a few laps, but can you make the outside work, Dave?
So Justin Allgaier is going to try to make anything work from the front here, and that's a very, very good thing. Jim Pullman, the crew chief, told me that they were surprised how well they qualified second because they did not have good fire-off speed. You saw it there. He was able to get around Custer once, pulled him off twice, and maintain where he is. He'll start on the outside here.
Look at also starting on the outside. So many cars went to the bottom. That allows Sheldon Creed. He's going to roll all the way up. He's running in 8th. He's going to start in 6th place. And I like that, Steve. Like, you almost have to win this race. Take every opportunity you can to get position.
Yeah, you don't know what's going to happen in turn 1. If I can move up some positions, I'm going to fight my way to the bottom. I like that choice. It's not a race you're going to leave with a lot of friends. You're going to have to upset some people.
And that has almost become the norm here at Martinsville. As we get ready.
Pace car back on pit road again, and once again, it'll be Sammy Smith and Justin Allgaier in the front row for the restart. Green flag back in the air. We're at lap number 11 of 60 in stage 1. Great launch this time by Allgaier on the outside. He'll stay door side of the 18 car of Sammy Smith through the first turn, though off the exit of the corner, Smith will pull clear onto the back straightaway. Allgaier clear for second on Cole Custer, and we'll see if he slips up this time in 3 and 4. He does not. In fact, he actually closes the gap quite a bit in the center of the corner on Sammy Smith, who gets great acceleration off the exit of turn 4, really backed the corner up quite a bit, almost enough so that Allgaier got into him. Good in the early going of the race. Maybe not something you want to do in the later stages when you'll see more bumping and running, although we have seen quite a bit of contact already made in the opening laps of this race in that fight for the bottom. Nobody wanting to waste any time. A lot of aggressiveness going on, especially in the top 10 right now between Riley Herbst and Sheldon Creed, who have made contact a couple times as they battle side by side for the 5th place position on racetrack. Sheldon Creed is on the inside lane. Riley Herbst is on the outside. Chandler Smith and Austin Hill are tied up door to door as well, just behind these two. Creed gives the bump to the left rear corner panel, the 98 of Herbst, who really slides the rear tires quite a bit through the center to exit. Still stays alongside Sheldon Creed. Did a great job holding on to his race car that time. We'll see if he can continue the battle on. It does seem like Herbst's car is a little on the loose side. I noticed when he was in the outside lane on that initial start that the rear tires seem to be sliding out quite a bit for him there as well. It's fine for right now, but as we get into a long green flag run, as we tend to see at Martinsville from time to time, those tires are going to go away quickly, and we'll see if he'll actually be able to maintain his track position on the racetrack as he stays in 5th for right now. Bit of a bottlenecking situation going on there as Austin Hill got tied up behind the 2 of Sheldon Creed, resulted in the 16 getting into the back of him in an accordion effect. Smith could not complete the pass on Hill. Hill will stay in front of him, going back to the inside lane to pull the block on the curb. As Smith and the 19 of Myatt Snyder continue to run side by side behind the 2 RCR Chevys in front of him. Smith comes up off the curb, center of the corner just a little bit, rubs fenders with Myatt Snyder. They still stay side by sides, allowing Austin Hill to slightly pull away. Chandler Smith, that was led the first 17 laps of the race today. He's got a 7/10 of a second lead over Justin Allgaier at the front of the field. John Hunter Nemechek is up to 3rd place as he has just passed Cole Custer for position. Cole Custer remains in 4th. Riley Herbst is 5th. Sheldon Creed in 6th. Austin Hill 7th. Myatt Snyder 8th. Chandler Smith 9th. And Brandon Jones currently going to round out the top 10 positions again in the first third of stage 1. Josh Berry in the 8, great short track racer, did not qualify particularly well this weekend. Has had kind of a down season. The second half of the year for Berry has not gone well. He was eliminated in the first round of the Xfinity Series playoffs, and on what you would probably think is one of his better racetracks, or at least a racetrack that suits his driving style best, not qualifying well today compared to the other 3 junior motorsport cars qualifying top 10 and all running there for right now. Berry sits in the 13th place position trying to work himself forward. That last lap, Justin Allgaier was about a 10th of a second quicker than race leader Sammy Smith as he tries to run him down as we get more laps into this run. We'll see if Sammy can hang on to it. Maybe he was pushing a little too hard on those tires in the early laps as he tries to build knowledge in just his second ever start at Martinsville. Couldn't be in a more pressure-packed situation with needing a win to make it into the Championship 4 at Phoenix, where he won at earlier this season. Don't forget, Sammy Smith won the spring Phoenix race. It was his only win of the season. So if he does make it, you can't say he doesn't have a chance because he already won there earlier this year. Allgaier's closed the gap to within a half a second behind the 18 car, just in front of him. Joe Gibbs Racing's kind of had a stranglehold on this racetrack over the last couple of seasons of the NASCAR Xfinity Series, with John Hunter Nemechek dominating the spring race earlier this year. Ty Gibbs and Brandon Jones leading a ton of laps in last year's Xfinity race. Would have finished 1-2 if it wasn't for Gibbs getting into Jones late, but Gibbs was still able to get the win for JGR in that one. So we'll see if they can dominate a third race in a row with two of their cars currently in the top three positions. And Myatt Snyder, who's on a part-time drive in the 19 car, is up to 8th place, gaining a few positions already since the restart as well. Different number font on that 18 car. Different sponsor as well. They got Pringles on the hood, with the pilot color still alongside the race car. There are some laps that Justin Allgaier consistently runs a slight bit quicker than Sammy Smith, but then just when you think he's going to be able to creep in, Sammy Smith puts down a really good lap. He just hasn't had as much consistency. The track position game, though, is really going to be key for him, as well as if he can get through lap traffic, which we have not seen yet today with that early caution on lap 6. Smith, who is currently the race leader, over the last car on the lead lap right now, has built up a 16.7 second gap. Joe Graff Jr. ended up going 2 laps down off the start of the race with that flat left rear tire, but he is still in the race. So just over 3/4 of a lap ahead of the last car, the lead lap right now is Sammy Smith. So we'll probably be seeing some lap traffic here over the next 5 to 10 laps. And we'll see if Allgaier can close that gap even closer, maybe even start to allow John Hunter Nemechek, Cole Custer, and others to close that gap as well. Top 3 cars definitely the quickest on the racetrack that last time by, and in that same order of positions 1 through 3. Full screen commercial break right now on the USA Network. Again, thank you for everybody tuning in here today. We're already up to 42 likes on the stream. Our goal is 100, but let's try to get to even more than that. And also hit that subscribe button if you guys have not done so yet. Getting back into the routine of daily NASCAR live streams on the channel. We'll be streaming NASCAR Thunder 2004 during the week as we're currently on a career mode run there. We have live commentary coverage every NASCAR race weekend for the NASCAR Truck Xfinity and Cup Series races right here on the channel for the races I don't go to in person. And the ones I do go to in person, which I don't plan on going to anymore this year, we have race highlight videos from the grandstand. So even though you can't listen to my commentary throughout the course of the weekend, you could at least catch race highlights from the grandstand, so kind of a unique thing that we do here on the channel as well. So you got full NASCAR coverage every race weekend. The race weekends are coming to an end here very, very shortly. We have just next weekend at Phoenix with all 3 series, the Cup race tomorrow, and that's it. We have 4 live commentary streams left of 2023 after today. So be sure to hit that subscribe button so that way you don't miss next season when we end up kicking things off with the Busch Light Clash at the LA Coliseum, as well as, of course, Speed Weeks at Daytona. Plan on having live commentary for all those races right here on the channel next season. That'll be a fun way to go about it. Speed Weeks is going to be fun. I did commentary on that for the first time this year because I was at Daytona the year before when we started doing live commentary streams. And it was a blast doing 5 straight nights of NASCAR action with the 500 qualifying on Wednesday, the dual races Thursday, you had Truck Friday night, ARCA and Xfinity Saturday, and then the Cup Series race on Sunday. So it was a big week. Can't wait to see you guys for that one again next year, but obviously we have some business to get down to in the late going of this season first. Get that leaderboard back up and running for you guys right now. 9/10 of a second lead now for Sammy Smith post-commercial break over Justin Allgaier. Top 4 positions, all playoff drivers. Riley Herbst, who is the only non-playoff driver to get a win in the postseason for the Xfinity Series, is in 5th place. And then you got another playoff driver right behind him of Sheldon Creed. About a 2-second gap builds up between the 5th and 6th place spot. It was a good battle for position off that restart between Herbst and Creed. Herbst won that battle, pulled away from Creed, but Creed's still hanging on to that position just behind him. Mike Snyder, during the commercial break, was able to pass Austin Hill for 7th place on the racetrack, so he's slowly moving closer to his teammates. And Sammy Smith has now reached lap traffic for the first time today, putting a couple cars lap down during the break. And continues that nearly half a second to a second race lead that kind of fluctuates back and forth between that 0.5 to 1.0 second difference on an even basis. First lap car he had to pass, he ended up having troubles getting around the 07. Hit the curb on his entrance into turn 3, really chopped the corner off a little too deep and ended up making contact with the left rear corner panel of the 07. It slowed his lap time down just a little bit, and that's why Allgaier got to within a half a second again. First lap after clearing the 07, though, and he ran a couple tenths quicker, and he pushes that lead back to 8 tenths of a second. So, obviously, every lap car Sammy Smith passes, Justin Allgaier is going to have to pass that many cars as well to keep up or get to Sammy Smith. The denser the lap traffic becomes, the more likely Allgaier is going to be able to close that gap. Allgaier, the veteran, you would imagine would thrive in a situation like this on a rookie, having to pass lap cars at a very tight racetrack where you really have to finesse it to not make contact with another race car. The more contact you make, the more it's going to slow you down. Even if you are just trying to get them up out of the way, it will still scrub speed off nonetheless. No lap cars between the top two now as they circuit back to the start-finish line. Lap 39 of 60 in stage 1 currently. Fastest car on the racetrack that last lap outside of the top 3 was Myatt Snyder in the 6th place position. He's been running lap times faster than Cole Custer and Riley Herbst, just ahead of him. He's going to have a good chance of trying to catch those two before the end of the stage. Not sure if he's going to be able to pass him or not, but should get to him at least. Good run for Snyder. 19 car for Joe Gibbs Racing's gone to victory lane twice this season with two different drivers. Of course, Ty Gibbs winning at Indianapolis on road course in the summer months, and then as well Ryan Truex back in the spring getting a win at Dover. So Snyder trying to become the third different driver to win in that car this season. We've also seen Trevor Bayne in that car for a handful of races later in the summer. Snyder back in the car, though, again today. And shout out once again to Lane Riggs making an Xfinity Series start today. I don't think it's his first. I think it's his second or third start with Colleague Racing this season. Hopefully he gets a shot at things going forward, considering that he has had some bright spots on the short tracks in the Truck Series. Looking to see what he can do here today on a short track in the Xfinity side. Car in the outside wall in turns 1 and 2, not that far in front of the race leaders, has brought out a caution. It's the 29, and now this time it is Kyle Sieg, and he's got some damage to the right front of his race car. Window net is down, and it looks like Sieg's day is going to come to an end. Quite a bit of damage on that right front. Might have had a tire blowout or something of that nature for him to go straight up the hill like that, but a pretty decent impact with the wall. And we'll more than likely be seeing pit stops for the first time today with this caution at lap 43.
There it is. Yeah, real heavy damage right here. It's an uncomfortable moment for the playoff cars. I don't believe anyone who needs points is going to come to pit road.
Okay, never mind.
It's kind of opportunity for somebody like Sam Mayer, who's stuck all the way back at 19th with a win in the bank. He knows he's part of the championship 4 next week. He can pit now and stay out at the stage end. Let's see what happens to the 29 here.
Broke something on the right front.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that we have happen here sometimes, Steve, and I'm not sure exactly what that was, but it looks a lot like a bead issue. Watch this one car.
Oh, no.
Smokes.
The good thing for Sam Mayer is he's already got a spot in Championship 4.
And they slowed down faster in front of him under that caution than he was anticipating, catching the back of the field or something. That was very odd looking.
Yeah, you just always got to be watching out in front of you. You know, and this wreck's down here in turn 1. There's trucks or safety trucks trying to enter the racetrack or approach the wreck, and you always kind of got to be on your toes at a small short track like this. But I was going back to the seat car that we talk about brake cooling and cooling the beads on these tires. You often wonder sometimes that looked an awful lot like a brake bead failure because of cooling on the right front.
We ride along looking up toward the pace car with the Toyota onboard of Sammy Smith. It's been a pretty clean look for Sammy Smith. He's only caught a couple cars at the back of the pack to put him a lap down.
Yeah, pit road was closed that time around. So I thought it was, Sammy Smith, Allgaier, and Nemechek and Custer. I think they're going to stay out for points. But what about Sheldon Creed or Chandler Smith back in 9th? I mean, I know 9th isn't awful, but it's not the perfect track position you can hit now. We're going to have probably 10 laps to go. You can run 10 laps and then stay out and get track position at the end of the stage. We'll see if anybody elects to do that.
I would say Sammy Smith might be in that category too.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong, and he proves you're right. Sammy Smith comes to pit road now knowing that this is going to be a cycle, and much like him, a bunch of cars chasing the pit road, Kim.
That's right, Sammy Smith, overall happy with the car, said really good exit, just struggling a little bit with rear lateral, so they will make a slight air pressure adjustment on that machine of Sammy Smith, James.
Maya Snyder, a great run for him so far, gives up the 6th position to come to pit road now for 4 Goodyear tires. Driver said it has good drive off through the whole run. Marty?
Dave, what you're seeing here, teams that are not worried about stage points, the win is all that matters for Sheldon Creed. That's the only way he's going to get to Phoenix with a shot to win the championship. So the car was just too free and fell off too much towards the end of the run. That pretty good. Showing on the you see that big wedge adjustment trying to get that car better for Creed.
Pit stop continue, and it will be a sprint to the green and white checker to finish stage 1. You have to limit your mistakes. Sam Mayer, not paying attention there, gets into the back of another car.
Heavy damage under the caution for Sam Mayer. Once again, good thing he ended up winning at Homestead last weekend, and also a good thing that it is a short track after all. I'd have to imagine Mayer will be able to continue on in the race. Not sure how much speed that's going to end up affecting him as at a loss at least with the damage to the front bumper. You don't have to worry about aerodynamics so much at Martinsville with the slow mid-speed corners right around 50 to 70 miles per hour at their slowest as they work their way through both ends of the racetrack. Just over 100 concurrent viewers watching. Appreciate everybody tuning in here on the Saturday afternoon. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We're on the road to 5,000 subs on the channel. The goal before the season started was to get to 5,000 subs before the end of the year. We have just 4 more live commentary streams after this one here today. Our coverage of tomorrow's Cup Series race at Martinsville will begin at 1:30 Eastern time tomorrow. So definitely be sure to hit that like button on the stream, but most importantly, hit the subscribe button as well. It helps this channel out a ton, and hopefully we get to our goal here over the next week or so. Alex, thanks for tuning in as well. Esteban Tobar Sosa, thanks for tuning in. Somebody said, yeah, somebody mentioned if it looked cold where I was at because I was wearing the stocking hat today. Somebody said it was 80 degrees. I can most certainly assure you it is not 80 degrees where I live. Here today, about 50 outside. It's not too cold, but rolling with the stocking hat. It's getting to that time of the year again.
Here comes Saturday night. Pretty close call on pit road. It's a small one here, Steve.
Well, it's very, very tight. You see Creed pull out the tire carrier. Yeah, that's pretty standard here. Probably didn't scare Creed as much as it bothered the tire carrier. Then the 11 right here, he kind of gets confused, goes to pull in the same pit stall, pulls back out, turns back in. What that basically turns into is entering through too many pit boxes, so Lane Riggs will have to start at the tail of the field.
Yeah, Lane doesn't run this series that often. He just got confused. Where's my pit box? Where am I going? He's not accustomed to doing a lot of pit stops. It was a bad break for him because he was going to get track position at the end of this stage, but with that penalty, he won't be able to take advantage of it.
Here's a look from the Xfinity mobile on board of Cole Custer. He'll start in the second row, just behind Allgaier.
11 laps to go in stage 1 this time by Allgaier and Nemechek on the front row right now. Remember, Allgaier was 3 points below the cutoff line at Custer and Austin Hill coming into this race today. Custer and Hill restarting in row 2 behind Allgaier. Green flag back in the air. Allgaier through turns 1 and 2 trying to get to the lead on Nemechek. He knows how desperate this stage win is for him, and he is going to clear the 20. Nemechek driving it in deep on the entry into turn 3. All over the back bumper, the 7 of Allgaier. And instead, it's Nemechek who gets hit from behind by Cole Custer in the center of the corner. Nemechek slides loose as a result. Custer to the inside of the 20 car for second. 3 wide into turn 1 around where Sammy Smith is at on fresher tires. Trying to slice and dice through the field. Still 3 wide on the back straightaway into 3 now as Riley Herbst will be the next one on the inside line. It's the 6 and the 92 to the outside of the 18, the corner before that, and then obviously Riley Herbst right there as well. Drivers battling for what will be the eventual race lead once those drivers that ended up staying out of the pits during that last caution come to pit road during the stage 1 break. Obviously, it was pretty easy to say that Allgaier, Custer, and Hill were going to stay out on the racetrack to get stage points, especially once one of them did, so that way they could try to get all the points they can here late in this stage. Got a tire rub on the left front fender of the 9 of Brandon Jones after contact with Parker Retzlaff in the 31. Jones is going to try to ride this thing out. He's stuck in the outside lane, so even if he wanted to pit, he's not going to be able to get down, but that is so much smoke. I don't know that that tire is going to hold up to the end of the stage as we still have 7 to go. Custer was able to get by John Hunter Nemechek for second. He has not ran away from him, and Allgaier has gotten out to about a 9/10 of a second lead at the front of the field. That battle where Brandon Jones is at on the racetrack is right around 19th to 20th place. And he is still in the outside lane, although that left front tire is not smoking as much as it was a lap or two ago, which is good. Custer needs to hang on to second. Every point matters. He's currently 6 points above the cutoff line on Austin Hill. Obviously, that would be a little bit different with Allgaier leading this race right now if Allgaier were to drop out of the lead, which would happen on this next restart, as we know he is going to be one of the drivers coming onto pit road at the end of this stage. Sammy Smith still trying to pass cars and stay in front of Riley Herbst, most importantly, is what Sammy Smith is trying to do right now, as those are the top 2 drivers of those that have already pitted. Quite a few cars that did come to pit road, but they've also gained quite a few positions between the 18 and 98 cars on the restart as well, as Sammy Smith's already working himself up to 5th place as he passes Anthony Alfredo going into turn 3. Hill in 4th place, also trying to run down Nemechek and Custer just in front of him. Looking to keep pace here late in the stage, maybe pick up another point. Doesn't seem to be gaining ground on the 20. It almost looks as if the 00 of Cole Custer is slowly pulling away from Nemechek at the 2nd place position battle as well. Sammy Smith all clear for 5th. Herbst is just now getting to 7th as he's been side by side with that 91 car for a while, being very patient getting around him. It's a lot for the 19 of Myatt Snyder, who also pitted during that caution flag to get underneath the 91 and stay tight to the back bumper of the 98 into 3 and 4. 1.3 second lead now for Justin Allgaier, final lap of stage 1. As he works his way off of turn 2, he's got about a 6-7 plus car length advantage. And it'll be Justin Allgaier winning stage 1 here today at Martinsville. Cole Custer finishes 2nd in stage 1. 3rd place for John Hunter Nemechek. Austin Hill in 4th. Sammy Smith 5th. Anthony Alfredo 6th. Riley Herbst 7th. 8th place for Myatt Snyder. Chandler Smith 9th. And Josh Bilicki will round out the top 10, all receiving stage points in stage 1. Big time stage win there for Justin Allgaier. He needed that. Once again, 3 points below that cutoff line on Austin Hill. He outscores Austin Hill by 3 points in this first stage. He was also 3 points behind Cole Custer, beats him by 1 point. So that would put Cole Custer 2 points ahead of Austin Hill and Justin Allgaier. So Allgaier and Hill will be tied for that final playoff spot going into the start of stage 2. Once we get the field reset with the drivers who still have to hit pit road that have not hit pit road yet in this race today. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Once again, I know I say it a lot during the stream. Really trying to get to 5,000 subs here before the end of the season. We're cutting it pretty close. Khalil, thanks for tuning in. Greetings from Brazil. What channel to watch the race? I don't know on your end. I know in the U.S., it's on the USA Network. I would doubt that the USA Network is a thing in Brazil. So, hopefully, you can find a way to watch the race. If not, you're more than welcome to stick around here and listen to the commentary. Got 53 likes on the stream as well. We'll take our first ad break of the race as we're during the Stage 1 break. 2 stages to go at Martinsville here today in the Dead on Tools 250. And you have one more stage to place your vote for who you think will win the race. 66 votes have been casted so far. Very close poll As of right now, John Hunter Nemechek is the favorite to win via the chat. 24% for Stage 1 winner Justin Allgaier, 29% for other, which is only 1% behind Nemechek, and then 17, make that 18% now of the votes go to Cole Custer, who is second place. Allgaier, Custer, Nemechek were 1 through 3 at the end of Stage 1. Fitting that they were all in the poll today. They were my 3 favorites to win the race. That's why I put them in there. I usually try to take the favorites and or the pole sitter. 70 tomorrow, then 50s. I think tomorrow for me, it's supposed to be like a high right around 50.
Making their way onto pit road. A little bumping and banging there as John Hunter Nemechek's trying to get to his stall. Dave.
Rick stage winner Justin Allgaier was reminded, a lot to lose if you speed on pit road, so just bring it down carefully. We'll take care of you. Harding a little bit of an adjustment, needs to be tightened up. As for John Hunter Nemechek, needs grip on the long run, Marty.
Dave, a host of issues for Austin Hill. He said the right rear chatters almost like it's wheel hopping in the middle of the corner, and he cannot touch the brakes. So a fairly big swing coming at the 21 right now. Cole Custer, 9 critical stage points. He said he's just 0.5% free, but he said make the adjustments very small. I think the track is going to tighten up. And how about that Stewart Haas pit crew? They gained Cole Custer some spots here, Rick. They will leave of those who pitted with the lead.
Remember, Custer has that number 1 pit box, comes in handy there as he wins the race off of pit road. But again, neither of the drivers that ended up hitting pit road are going to be up at the very front of the field. They'll be restarting mid-pack behind everybody who pitted late in Stage 1. It'll be interesting to see how they fight through the front of the field and maybe get into stage points here before the end of Stage 2. It's not going to be easy for all 3 of those drivers needing points to get into the top 10 in points-paying positions before the end of the second stage. So it's going to be a fun watch to see how they navigate through the field. Hopefully they get through there without any incidents. Sammy Smith will be the leader in the restart then, as he was in 5th at the end of Stage 1, but he was leading of those that pitted. And all those drivers, obviously, that did hit pit road just now will have about 11-lap fresher tires than those that pitted during the caution before, as we had an 11-lap green flag run before then. Cole Custer, who won the race out of the pits, will be restarting in 21st place, so the top 20 cars all stayed out. 21st place restart for Cole Custer, John Hunter Nemechek in 23rd, Allgaier 22nd, and 24th and 25th place for Austin Hill and Parker Kligerman, who also hit pit road where they did. So Sammy Smith and Herbst will be the front 2 on this next restart coming up. And I'd probably say Sammy Smith is definitely the fastest of the cars at the front of the field, although Mike Snyder was putting together some pretty good lap times there before that second caution came out late in Stage 1. If he can get by the 98 car quickly, I think Snyder might have something for Sammy Smith here in Stage 2 if we do go green the entire length of Stage 2. We'll take another ad break here before we get into the next green flag restart to begin Stage 2. You're listening to the Dead on Tools 250 at Martinsville live on KRC. So Sammy Smith, Riley Herbst, front of the field coming up. They'll be in that front row. Mike Snyder, Chandler Smith just behind them. Right around row 3 will be Sheldon Creed, Daniel Hemrick, Josh Berry, Kaz Gralla behind them. And then back half of the top 10 for the restart, Ryan Sieg and Brandon Jones, who stayed out of the pits still despite that left front tire rubbing there late in that first stage off the most recent restart. Field is doubled up. They'll be going green this time by just getting into turn 3. We've had 2 cautions for incident with the Stage 1 break, bringing out our 3rd caution of the day at lap 60. Both the JGR Toyotas going to be on the front row. Herbst takes the inside of row 2 for the restart, in fact, so that gives the 19 of Snyder the outside of row 1. We'll see what he can do with it. First time on the front row today for him. Sammy Smith has had experience with a couple restarts on the inside of row 1 as the green flag is back in the air and Stage 2 is underway at Martinsville. Very good restart for Mike Snyder on that outside lane, staying door-to-door tight with his teammate underneath him. Still 2x2 through most of the field. Brandon Jones with an evasive maneuver on the backstretch to try to make a move on the inside of the 16 car. Rather, that's the 10 of Daniel Hemrick right in front of him. A lot of beating and banging through that third turn. There were a couple of cars that were hitting each other simultaneously in that bottom lane. Everybody checking up early. Justin Allgaier still trying to stay behind the 0-0 of Custer. All those guys on the inside lane quickly on the restart. Josh Berry pulls down to the bottom just in front of Sheldon Creed. Chandler Smith was able to get the third place in front of Riley Herbst, so taking the inside of row 2 did not work out well for Herbst. Gave up what he could have ended up having the outside of row 1 if he wanted to, but ended up choosing to restart row 2, and that might have bit him, as it ended up not only he wasn't able to get back to second, but he also ended up losing another position out of it as well to the car who restarted to the outside of him. John Hunter Nemechek stuck in the outside lane right now with a lot of traffic in front of him. Custer's on the bottom behind the 11 car of Lane Riggs. Former NASCAR driver Scott Riggs' son. Took a look to the inside. Riggs with the half block on the straightaway before pulling into turn 3. Riggs may be a little bit faster than some of the other cars in front of him, but he's got drivers that were not only faster than him, but on fresher tires just behind him. Riggs, with a big block on Custer. Custer sends it up the track. Riggs goes around, and the caution flags out for the 4th time today. Riggs crowded Custer pretty heavily at the end of the front straightaway that time, and Custer was very close to clipping that inside retaining wall getting into the first turn. He then made contact with the 11 of Riggs, and that is a desperate situation there for Custer. I can't blame him when you're in a position where you're trying to make it to the championship 4 and you get chopped off by a rookie. Nonetheless, can't imagine that radio is anything but calm right now on the 0-0 side. Big block, though, by Lane Riggs. Custer had the positioning underneath him, ran out of real estate, went up the track into the corner, and, whether it was intentional or not, if it was intentional, I think Custer kind of had every right for that. Position he's in points right now, he cannot afford to be nearly blocked into the inside wall, ending his chance at a championship. And as a result, Lane Riggs goes for a spin. Now, as Riggs spun up the racetrack, he was able to get it locked down and stop before making contact with the outside wall. So Riggs will be able to continue, but obviously losing more track position. Tough race for Lane Riggs in the early going. Obviously, the spin. And then during his pit stop as well, he ended up missing his pit box, drove through too many boxes, had a penalty there, which caused him to restart right in front of the leaders at the end of stage 1 after they had pitted. So 4 cautions already in the first roughly 70 laps of this race today. Sid for Brains, thanks for tuning in. Taking Riley Herbst to win today. That's an interesting pick. John Hunter Nemechek still leading the poll right now. That is going to be a very close poll for who the fan vote driver will be on the stream today. I like seeing polls this tight. We usually don't see them this tight every week. 71 votes have been casted so far, and it's only a 2% difference between Nemechek and other, and just a 5% difference between Nemechek, other, and Justin Allgaier. There's 25% of the votes right now. Cole Custer at 17% of it. Brunt of that incident right there, but obviously we'll be able to continue on. He's got a little bit of splitter damage on the left front from clipping that curb after getting crowded down to the inside, but that's not going to affect the handling of the race car at all. So he'll be able to continue on.
Trivia, do you play fantasy buy race tickets? Or you save those points, trade them in for free tickets, autographed merchandise, and much, much more. Visit NASCAR.com/fan-rewards. So another restart will have to happen as Sammy Smith out in front, but the 3 drivers that were closest in points, take a look at where they're running now.
Well, and that's why we just saw that aggression out in the 0-0, trying to get 3 wide back at the pack, because with the 18 leading this race, right, that really leaves 1 spot. That's how you have Allgaier and Hale both looking at minus. It's because Cole is the only one above and only by 3 points.
Here's Cole Custer riding along with him.
He's trying to get by Lane Riggs. He's on better tires than Lane. Lane will block right there. Cole Custer does not make this move if he's not in this point battle that he's in. Look what's around him. All the guys he's racing in the points. This was a super aggressive move by Cole. You can point the finger at Lane because he's the new guy, but when Cole got down there, there was only one thing that was going to happen. There was no way that he was going to get that car to turn. Let's listen to what they said.
Yeah, just so Frank getting spot for him. I think
So there's a few that aren't happy.
Well, look, I get it. We've all been there. Junior, we've been there. Steve, you've been there. Look, your whole world is around where you finished today. But Lane Riggs' whole world is where he finishes today. So he doesn't care that you're in this point battle. That's not his job to care that you're in the point battle. He's here trying to earn himself a chance to race in this series full time or in the truck series. I just can't put that on Lane.
And Lane looked as though he was giving that 00 a line.
Well, he threw some blocks, but
I don't know that he gave him a line, but
we've seen here in the past. But the entry angle for turn 1 on the 00 was nobody was going to win there, and so I think Cole was just losing his patience. And I can't say, I would have probably done the same thing Cole did. You know, you're getting blocked straightaway after straightaway, but again, you're not going to make that corner down there. That contact was avoidable, but Cole didn't give himself a shot.
Yeah, Martinsville happens. You know, that's what we just watched. That's just Martinsville racing.
short track racing.
So 2x2 once again. We're getting ready for the restart here in stage 2. Sammy Smith on the inside. And we see Chandler Smith will be on the outside. Ryan Snyder has chosen that inside line behind Sammy Smith. We'll see if he can hang on to second.
Chandler Smith's going to get a great acceleration off of 2 and clear into second right there. That was absolutely necessary. Mine's going to get in the back bumper a little bit right there. But Chandler's going to keep the spot. Oh, he eats up the track. Got in the corner hard, up the track a little bit into Riley Herbst. In 4th place, look at this battle at the bottom.
3 wide. Sam Mayer on the outside, and he's going to get through.
This is hard on a car owner.
Allgaier in the 7 on the inside.
Top of the screen, Chandler Smith now getting passed by Ryan Snyder, who continues to have a great day in the 19 car.
They are all in the back of Chandler Smith here.
Chandler Smith's going to be like, what did you do it, Josh? Josh getting pushed by the 98 as well. Oh, man, more contact right here.
Yeah, this right here, let's see how Chandler handles this. But if I was Chandler Smith, I'd be pretty frustrated at the moment. I mean, again, he's going to get in the back of the car.
Josh Berry. And more contact.
This ain't going to end well.
Josh has to hope is that Riley Herbst in that 98 stays right behind the 8 so he can't roll in behind the 8.
Yeah. Retaliation's coming if not.
Riley's able to fill that void. Kim.
And right now the 16 team just trying to keep their drivers level-headed. They told him to settle in and take a deep breath. That car also not to Chandler's liking. He said the left front pops at the 3/4 mark. That front end will not turn, but the car's also a bit too snappy.
Sheldon Creed, does he put the bumper to the 16? Sure enough, he does.
Well, the 16 put the bumper to the 98. Chandler said, I'm tired of getting pushed around. I'm going to push somebody else around.
All right, guys, this is lap 86. Everybody now, just take a deep breath.
You need to get on everyone's radio.
That was the voice of wisdom we just heard.
Well, I mean, I understand that there's a time and a place, but I haven't seen a pass yet. All this is I'm going to push you out of the way and drive by. That's not a pass.
It's hard to do it cleanly, Steve. You really realize that to be able to make that pass, it's going to take a little, some level of aggression because all the cars are pretty even. And again, there's not a lot of power just to drive up underneath somebody on the corner exit.
Riley falling back as Sheldon Creed is around. He was able to clear it. And now Ryan.
We got 39 cars around. Down here in the corner. Sorry, there's the 39 car. He just got turned around there.
Get her going.
Running in the top 10, 7th place. Brian Sieg.
Riley Herbst was right there next to Ryan Sieg. I'm wondering if it was frustration that got to Riley Herbst.
There's a lot of driver's frustrated in it. Let's see here, the 39 on the inside just gets loose getting in. Charging the corner on that inside, it's so easy to do that. It's so easy to have the rear tire start wheel hopping. When that starts happening, you cannot slow the car down. You can't stop the car. He's spinning out, getting in the corner, and he goes up, and Riley's really lucky. I believe Riley might have seen it coming, right? Riley moves up the track to sort of give him the opportunity to try to, avoid spinning or avoid too much contact and spin Riley out. So, man, when you got a car on the inside of you here at Martinsville, you're always aware of that, right? That possibility of the car coming down there and spinning out on your door. And that's what happened.
This caution is a little bit further from the end of the stage. I'm not sure the same opportunity to kind of, jump over the stage like we did last time. I'd be shocked if we see a lot of takers in this situation, but we have to just see. You never know if there's a gamble from somebody like Austin Hill towards the back, but with only, say, 15 hard laps on their tires, I don't think anybody thinks it's time yet to put the next set of tires on.
And looks like Sam Mayer is going to be one taker that will come to pit road.
Parker Kligerman will join them.
Not too many, though, Kim.
No, not one of those cars, though, that is on pit road is the one of Sam Mayer. Remember how that damage earlier. Overall, the race car just a little bit too loose. Also in Parker Kligerman making a stop. He just needs a little bit more rear grip and turn. So cars really faced with a doozy handling-wise here at Martinsville.
Doing some work on the front end of Parker Kligerman. As a matter of fact, they're going to cut some parts away on the front of that 48. So it was the 39 of Ryan C. going around, bringing out the caution for the 5th time already today.
An aggressive, packed race here in the first 91 laps of the Dead on Tools 250 at Martinsville. Caution filled nonetheless, to say the least, as well, as we are at 4 cautions in the early going. 5 cautions now in the early going of the race with this Ryan Sieg spin. Sammy Smith still the race leader on top of his teammate Myatt Snyder at the front of the field. Josh Berry most recently just moved up to 3rd place right before that caution came out. Him and Chandler Smith getting after it there for that 3rd place position. Berry pounding the back bumper of Smith for numerous laps before finally able to make the pass on him. And not a happy camper, I would imagine, would be the driver of the 16 of Chandler Smith in that situation. He's wanting to hang on for the track position he can get, knowing he's in a must-win situation to make it to the Championship 4 at Phoenix. But we'll see how this is going to go about. Justin Allgaier's made his way up to 17th on the restart. Not as high up in the running order as Cole Custer, John Hunter, and Nemechek. Nemechek at 14th, Custer 15th, so Allgaier losing just a little bit. Those drivers still trying to get into the top 10 to get some stage points before the end of Stage 2, as they're all racing for a championship. Same goes for Austin Hill in the 19th place position. We'll take a quick ad break here. We'll get back to the Stage 2 action. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content, and we will continue our Dead on Tools 250 at Martinsville coverage on KRC. 100 likes is the goal. We're at 62 right now on the channel. Martha Flores, Matt Hunter, Robbie Crawford, thanks for tuning in. As well as others who I have not shouted out yet in the stream, if I may have missed your name in the chat. Waiting to get to this next restart, I'd imagine Sammy Smith and Myatt Snyder will be on the front row again. We saw Riley Herbst, who was in second initially, take the inside lane of row 2. It ended up costing a position out of that. Now, Myatt Snyder is going to do the same thing here, so that means Josh Berry's actually going to be on the front row of this restart on the outside of Sammy Smith. And Myatt Snyder to the inside of row 2, so I'm surprised Snyder did that considering he got the outside of row 1. It worked for him. And he's not going to go with that again this time around. Gives his teammate a good launch. through the race start zone. Green flag back in the air. Sammy Smith easily going to work his way clear off of turn 2. And now it's Josh Berry's turn to try to get the second in front of Myatt Snyder. He's all clear. He moves to the bottom lane. Yeah, surprise Myatt Snyder ended up choosing the inside of row 2. We saw that did not work out for Riley Herbst. Although he slams the back of the 8 car of Josh Berry in the center of 3 and 4. And now he's going to get put 3 wide by Sheldon Creed into turn 1. Creed, Snyder, Chandler Smith, still 3 wide, center of the corner. A lot of contact with all 3 cars there. Not a lot of room to go 3 wide at Martinsville. Chandler Smith does a great job holding on. He clears the 19 of Myatt Snyder. Sheldon Creed's going to get underneath him, so that bump and run for Snyder on Josh Berry for second really backfired because all it did was back Snyder up a couple more positions, and Berry still remains in the second place spot. It did allow for Berry to get a little bit of loose in the center of the corner when he had that contact made from behind him, and as a result, Sammy Smith has pulled away. Sheldon Creed going to get by Chandler Smith now, and Sheldon Creed is up to 3rd place. Brandon Jones has gained a couple spots at the restart, right behind the battle between Snyder and Chandler Smith as well. Cole Custer in the outside lane, trying to stay in front of John Hunter Nemechek, currently working over the 08 car. Actually, that is the 02. I do believe. No, it is the, I had it right, the 02. 02 of Blaine Perkins. The 08 is right around them as well as Chad Fincham, but it was the 02. I think Custer is tired of getting log-jammed on the inside, feels he can make more moves on the top, and not only was able to make the pass on the 08 car, but also he looks to make the pass on the next car in front of him. The problem is they're 3 wide just up ahead, which log-jammed the outside up, which Custer was in. Nemechek saw that. He moved quickly right back down to the bottom behind the 0-2. Riley Herbst is in that 3rd lane, lost a lot of positions, and now falls back to 10th place. Sammy Smith, 1.1 seconds ahead of Josh Berry, still in 2nd place. Myatt Snyder scored in 3rd, 2.6 seconds off the lead. Sheldon Creed is in 4th, 2.6 seconds off the lead as well. And Chandler Smith rounds out the top 5. He's 3.3 seconds back. Beating and banging all throughout the first 100 laps of today's Dead on Tools 250 at Martinsville. Still 20 laps to go yet in Stage 2. And still waiting on Nemechek, Allgaier, Hill to get up inside the top 10. Cole Custer as well in 12th. None of them in position to get any stage points right now. Custer making a move to the inside on Jeremy Clements. Finally got off the outside lane once he was able to clear the 25 car, Brett Moffitt. Moffitt slides the tires behind Cole Custer, and he loses a little bit of ground there. And now they're side by side right in front of John Hunter Nemechek and Justin Allgaier. So Cole Custer is gaining more positions and pulling away from the 20 and the 7 behind him. He's still just outside the top 10 as he sits at 11th, but still 17 laps to go. He's got his teammate Riley Herbst as the next driver in front of him. Nemechek and Allgaier still back there around 14th and 16th. Commercial break right now on the USA Network. It's a NASCAR nonstop commercial break. We'll take a quick blow through of the top 10 in the running order. Sammy Smith has a 1.2 second lead over Josh Berry in 2nd. Myatt Snyder is in 3rd, 2.8 seconds off the lead. Sheldon Creed in 4th, 3.6 seconds back. Chandler Smith is 4.5 seconds off the lead in 5th. Brandon Jones is in 6th place, 4.9 seconds off the lead. Kaz Grella in 7th, 5.2 seconds back. 5.9 seconds back for Parker Retzlaff. Daniel Hemrick is 6.4 seconds off the lead in 9th, and Riley Herbst is in 10th place, 6.6 seconds off the lead. So that is the running order right now with 15 laps to go in Stage 2. I do think Custer can get to the top 10 here before the end of the stage. I don't know if that will be the case, though, for John Hunter Nemechek and Justin Allgaier. Good news is for Nemechek, he's plus 44 points above the cutoff line. He's more than likely going to point his way in through today's race. But not good for Justin Allgaier and Austin Hill, especially with a driver who came into the day in a must-win situation of Sammy Smith dominating the second stage and was leading a lot of laps in Stage 1 from the pole before we had a late caution, which allowed for Allgaier to win that stage off that restart because he stayed out of the pit. Sammy Smith pitted, got that track position back, and now he's put in this situation. Allgaier still outside the top 10, as mentioned. Cole Custer, the inside of his teammate Riley Herbst. That is for 10th place. Pretty big gap for the 9th place car up ahead of Custer, but Custer is clear, and he's in stage point position right now. Allgaier to the inside of Nemechek. trying to work him over through turns 1 and 2. Still that logjam of cars on the inside. Neither one of these two were able to go anywhere. 7 going to try to make a pass regardless. Obviously a much more do-or-die situation here today for Allgaier than Nemechek. Allgaier completes that pass for 14th place. 2 and nearly 3 wide just in front of the 7 car again. Riley Herbst continues to drop backwards in the running order. Daniel Hemrick has also dropped outside the top 10 on this most recent restart, also going backwards. He's right there with Herbst. Sam Mayer, that damage to the nose of his race cars, worked himself up to 17th place, make that 16th now as he passes Austin Hill. And Hill's been struggling with his race car all day today. Even though he was 4th at the end of stage 1, a lot of that was because there were a lot of drivers that pitted around him. I think he was 8th before that caution came out. Really, that was the only thing keeping him in contention through stage 1, and same thing with stage 2 here if Allgaier can't get back into the top 10. But they're going to have to make some massive adjustments and get Austin Hill as good a track position as they can on strategy, which is not going to be very easy considering that the final stage is going to be only 130 laps today. And 130 laps at Martinsville is not a long time whatsoever. A lot of clean air still in front of Sammy Smith. You can see the back of the lap traffic, but even if he gets there, there's going to be no dire straight situation to try to make a pass. He should be able to win this stage with ease over Josh Berry. His pace is good enough to do so, as he's still running lap time slightly faster than the 8 of Berry behind him. Berry putting a slight bit of a gap over Mike Snyder in 3rd as well. Creed, who got the 3rd initially at the restart, got passed by Snyder. He's now more than 3 seconds behind the 3rd place car. And Chandler Smith's starting to rail in Sheldon Creed once again for position, as well as now actually it's Kaz Gralla who is running down Sheldon Creed as Gralla moves to 5th, getting by Chandler Smith that last lap. 6 laps to go now in stage 2 for Sammy Smith at the front of the field. A lot of smoke off of turn 2, and it's the 48 of Parker Kligerman who's got severe damage to the front of his race cars. He may have ran into the back of somebody in turns 1 and 2. Problems for Kligerman. Sammy Smith able to get by. That allowed for Josh Berry to run a lap time 0.4 of a second quicker than Sammy that last lap, and Sammy catches lap traffic after all. Custer in a league of his own, but looking to get that extra stage point here. He did also pass Brandon Jones for 8th place recently, so Custer is up to 8th, which will get him 3 stage points. He came into this stage just 1 point ahead of Austin Hill and Justin Allgaier. He came in +3. If he finishes in 8th in this stage, he would just have to finish within 4 positions of Allgaier and Hill to beat them at race end. Allgaier trying to get to the top 10 still. And he might have a chance at it because both Riley Herbst and Jeremy Clements are right there in front of him. This could be huge for Allgaier over the next 2.5 laps to try to get by the 51 and the 98. He has to pass them both, though, to get to 10th. Puts the bumper to the back of the 51. He's not wasting any time. He's got to go. Brandon Jones in 9th, just up ahead of these guys, but not quite in the vicinity for Allgaier to make the pass. Allgaier leaning on Jeremy Clements, but as much contact as they're making, it's holding both cars up. Allgaier should be able to complete the pass on Clements, but even when he does, he's more than likely not going to be able to catch back up to Riley Herbst in time to get that 10th place spot. Cole Custer, meanwhile, has caught Chandler Smith for 7th. Retzlaff is up to 6th. Good run in the 31. We'll see how aggressive Custer's going to be through 3 and 4. Trying to pick up this last point on Chandler Smith. Puts the bumper to him. Going to get underneath him, but he's not going to be able to beat him back to the line, though. So 8th place in the stage for Cole Custer. Justin Allgaier barely missing out on stage points in stage 2 as he ends up 11th, just behind Riley Herbst, and obviously no stage points for Austin Hill as well, who ends up 17th in the stage. Sammy Smith going to win stage 2 here at Martinsville. Josh Berry 2nd in stage 2. Myatt Snyder 3rd. Sheldon Creed 4th. Kaz Gralla 5th. Parker Retzlaff in 6th. Chandler Smith 7th. Cole Custer 8th. Brandon Jones 9th. And Riley Herbst going to round out the top 10 in this stage. We're going to end the poll. As we are at the end of stage 2, it's a very tight poll, and right now you guys say somebody other. Actually, no, I can't end the poll. It's a tie. We have a tie at 89 votes. 91. Now others leading the poll again. I'm going to close it. I'm going to close it before it gets tied again. We are at the end of stage 2. We are closing the poll right now. It is no longer a tie. It was a tie when I was initially going to end it. I had to let it run out there for a little bit. Other at 30% of the votes is going to win. So you guys think that somebody other than John Hunter Nemechek, Justin Allgaier, or Cole Custer will win the race today? Of course, Sammy Smith from the poll has led the most laps. He also just won stage 2. Would be a good pick for that other. 93 votes were casted. Appreciate everybody that did vote. So appreciate everybody that took the time to vote. Who you think will win, you'll get to vote for tomorrow's Cup Series race at the start of that stream as well tomorrow. I've got the best beer. I appreciate that. Put a lot of work into that thing on a regular basis. I kid you not, I line it up in the bathroom every morning, like, not every morning, but like every 2 to 3 days. If I do it every morning, my skin would be extra rough with that razor, but every 2 to 3 days, you gotta keep that line on it. Snip off the little dead ends, the loose hairs. Mark DeMars, thanks for tuning into the stream. Roxy Bollinger, also welcome. Jim Troyer. John Hunter Nemechek has just advanced to the Championship 4 off of points through the first 2 stages alone, even though he did not get stage points in stage 2 as a result of Austin Hill and Justin Allgaier not getting stage points in that second stage as well. There is no chance for Nemechek to not get into the Championship 4 anymore. So he is locked in. Leaders are on pit road.
Lateral grip later in the run, just struggling with that rear grip, so they will make a slight adjustment. You see that there. 4 tires, no go fuel. Chandler Smith said the rear was chattering his teeth out. They are taking a major swing. That's why this is a longer stop. They're either going to be really good, they told him, or really bad, but they can't win like they are, Marty.
Sheldon Creed said he's having to guard the right rear on entry cam, just too free there. He said he's losing his speed through the center and 3 and 4. What a fight for Cole Custer. Restarted stage 2 and 21st, but earned stage points, 12 stage points today. He said the speed was good, it just gets too tight at the end of the run. Custer will come off pit road. Look at that. Sam Mayer, no tires, 13 spots gained for Sam Mayer in that one team, Rick.
Remember, Mayer ended up hitting pit road late in stage 2, ends up going with fuel only just to top off. So as a result, Sam Mayer will be the leader on this next restart. Sammy Smith was the first off the pit road of those that ended up taking 4 tires. Waiting for our leaderboard to update here. Looks like potentially Lane Riggs and Ryan Sieg may have stayed out of the pits as well, but we'll wait on that. Just another lap just to make sure. Of course, Sieg brought out the most recent caution, so he would have pitted for 4 tires. And then Lane Riggs also would have ended up hitting for 4 tires middle of that stage because of a spin as well. Halfway home in today's Dead on Tools 250 at Martinsville. We'll take a quick ad break and get into the Stage 3 action. You're listening live on KRC. We do have the Stage 2 diecast showing coming up. I don't have the diecast on me right this second. And I'm not sure exactly what diecast I want to show off, but I will get a diecast showing in here before the end of the race. I'll wait to grab one for when I give you guys the race broadcast the next time. I'll run and grab one real quick at that point. John Hunter Nemechek still back in the 16th place position. Austin Hill 17th. So it looks like our leaderboard is accurate. It has been a couple laps under the caution now. Lane Riggs will be the leader on the restart, staying out of the pits along with Ryan Sieg. Fuel only for Sam Mayer. And then the fresher tires will start 4th on back on this next restart. We'll see how they work themselves to the front. Can make it on field to the end of the stage from here, but I would imagine if we get a caution middle to the end of the stage, we'll see drivers pit for tires. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe the free pass goes to Parker Kligerman, with the stage caution coming out at lap 120. Sammy Smith scores the most stage points of any driver today, but remember, he is in a must-win situation. And it was not Kligerman who got the free pass, it was the 53 car who ends up getting the free pass. And that would be Akinori Ogata. Second time he has gotten the wave around today. 34 cars still on the lead lap at Martinsville when we get to this next restart to begin stage 3. A lot of cautions in this race has resulted in not a lot of racing through lap traffic. We've already had 6 cautions through the first 120 of 250 laps. Sammy Smith has led over 100 laps already today from the pole. 104 laps led through those first 2 stages. Allgaier, who ended up winning stage 1, was able to lead 20 laps at the end of stage 1. Crazy. Setting up for the next restart. Lane Riggs, again on the front row this time. Green flag back in the air. Trying to get that leaderboard back up for you guys again. Nearly 3 wide for Sam Mayer, nearly in that middle lane. Sammy Smith gave Mayer a shot down into that first turn. Smith was only able to get to the inside of the 39, and now gets to the inside of the 1 off the exit of turn 4. Mayer struggling to get the power down. First time we've seen Sammy going to have to make a pass on the leaders. A lot of smoke going on with some tires rubbing against other fenders. Middle of the pack. Sammy Smith and Sam Mayer have been side by side for about a lap and a half now. Thought Smith was going to be able to take easy control of second place, but Mayer's making this tough on him. Having those older tires, Mayer did a great job still hanging on to the outside as long as he did. He'll have to settle in third. And now Lane Riggs, as he leads this race, has a hard-charging Sammy Smith coming up from behind him. Leaderboard's back up. How long will Riggs be able to hold on at the front of the field? And for Justin Allgaier and Austin Hill on that cutoff line, an 8-point differential between those 2 drivers. Seed goes up the hill, bump and run from Sheldon Creed. Creed's going to move back into the top 5. Cole Custer right behind him. Creed to 6th, excuse me. Sammy Smith to the inside of the race leader, Lane Riggs. Making the pass through turns 1 and 2. Should clear him on the other end of the track in 3 and 4. And does. Sammy Smith back to the point at Martinsville, as we have about 116 laps to go. Josh Berry to 4th, getting by Sam Mayer. Again, has quite a bit of damage to the front of his race car, as well as older tires right now. Tires matter to a certain extent here, but track position very vital as well, with how difficult it is to make passes around this very tight half-mile racetrack. Shortest track on the NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, and Truck Series points schedule circuit. Of course, the Cup Series races at the LA Coliseum over the last couple of years. That's a shorter track than Martinsville, but not a points race. Wyatt Snyder now getting by Lane Riggs. Snyder's had a good run up to 2nd. Josh Berry right behind both of them. Berry sneaking to the inside for 3rd. Mayer got back by Sheldon Creed that last lap as well to get back into 5th place again. Second win here for Sam Mayer, I guess. Berry clears Riggs for 3rd. Quite a bit of damage on the front of the 35 car, which is where we saw some of that smoke in the middle of the pack. Very heavy left front tire rub on his race car. We'll see if they'll bring it to pit road here shortly. Cole Custer trying to fight his way back to the front of the field. Definitely has a quick race car. Not sure if he has anything for Sammy Smith from a speed standpoint, but if we get into a bunch of late race restarts, this could go to anyone at that point, as we've seen in the past here with races at Martinsville, especially in the Truck and/or Xfinity series. Some moisture on the camera lens of the 00, as if there may be some fluids getting up onto the lens of that camera. Can't tell if that's coming off the 2 car in front of him or if that's coming off of the 1 of Sam Mayer, who has that damage to the front of his race car. Not exactly sure. We saw potential fluids coming out from underneath the 2 car in last week's race at Homestead as well, in the middle going of a green flag run when everybody was trying to run that outside groove up near the wall. So it is kind of a coincidence that that is the case again here for Custer as he runs right behind the back bumper of the 2. Not sure what that is. But it is weird how we have seen that now 2 weeks in a row, 2 very different racetracks. Sam Mayer to the inside of Riggs. Side by side for 4th. Cole Custer's been trying to work over Sheldon Creed for a little while now. Sitting behind him for a few laps. Got to his inside about a lap and a half ago, and they still run side by side for 6th. Creed a little bit higher that time in the center of 3 and 4. Not as tight around the 00 that time. Trying to get maybe a straighter line off the exit of the corner to help him there. Doesn't seem like it matters what he does. He's doing a great job staying on the outside of that 00 of Cole Custer. The problem is that they're working closer to Sam Mayer and Lane Riggs. Mayer was not able to make the pass on Riggs for 3rd, so it's really starting to back this group of cars up. And Lane Riggs is starting to hold up a whole group of race cars behind him. And this pack between 4th and really 10th place is going to get tighter and tighter. Justin Allgaier has broken into the top 10 to 10th off this most recent restart. He's at the tail end of this long line of cars on the inside lane, except for Sheldon Creed, who still stays to the outside. Cole Custer cleared him, and now Riley Herbst was underneath them, although not the case for very long. Creed gets back to the bottom in front of Herbst. Herbst puts the bumper to Creed, but can't get back underneath him again off turn 4. Creed struggling to get the power down off the exit of the corners. He slides a bit wide. Still stays a full car length ahead of the 98 going into the next corner. Cole Custer not only gets by Sam Mayer that last lap, but working on Lane Riggs this lap, and that will move Custer into the 4th place position once he can clear the 11. And he has done just that. So Cole Custer clear up to 4th. He was in 2nd at one point earlier in the race. It's taken him an extraordinarily long time trying to get through this traffic, but he's finally getting through it. Top 10 at the time of this commercial break with 101 laps to go. Sammy Smith leads by 3.6 seconds now over Josh Berry in 2nd. Myatt Snyder is 3rd. Cole Custer 4th. Lane Riggs still in 5th. Sam Mayer is 6th. Sheldon Creed 7th. Riley Herbst 8th. Kaz Gralla 9th. And Justin Allgaier going to round out the top 10. We'll take a quick ad break, and we'll continue our live commentary coverage of Stage 3 of the Dead on Tools 250 at Martinsville. You're listening live on KRC. Once again, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you have not yet, as we have just about 100 laps to go in this race. Good battles all the way around this racetrack for most of the going here today. Traditional short track racing, fight for the bottom. A lot of beating and banging going on throughout this race. If you like short track racing, you definitely appreciate today's race at Martinsville. And hopefully tomorrow's is going to be as good as the one we've seen so far here this afternoon. Sam Mayer back to the inside of Lane Riggs again. Nope, not quite. I thought he was going to be able to stay underneath him that time off turn 4. Not the case. Oh, and Riggs goes around off the front bumper of the 1 of Mayer, right in front of the rest of the leaders. Nobody hits him. Second time Riggs has spun off the front bumper of another car today, and the caution flag is out for the 7th time on this Saturday afternoon. Mayer was taking forever to get around Lane Riggs, who was doing a great job, all things considered, staying in front of him, and both drivers fighting for that same spot on the bottom lane, getting into turn 1, and Riggs gets turned off the front of the 1. I'm not even sure if there was contact behind Mayer. There could have been contact from Herbst, which sent Mayer into Riggs. Whatever the case was, the 11 is around. And again, we are under caution with 96 laps to go at Martinsville. And it's our 7th caution of the race, our first caution of Stage 3. I don't think we're going to see any of the main drivers at the front of the field pit, at least those that took tires during the last caution. I would not be shocked if maybe Sam Mayer pits, considering he stayed out on those older tires. The 11 of Lane Riggs, obviously, with the spin, is probably going to pit. He is now back in 30th. Was in 4th. And there was no contact from behind Mayer, so Mayer made the initial contact with Riggs. Herbst did not get into the back of the 1. Riggs goes around off the front bumper of Mayer in the middle of turns 1 and 2, and again that brings out a caution, which will bunch the field back together again. Huge wreck avoidance for, looked like Chandler Smith, going all the way to the outside there to keep from running in the back of the car that was just in front of him, getting into the first turn. There are teams on the wall. I don't imagine we're going to see too many drivers pit here. We only had roughly a 20-lap green flag run, but we'll see. Pit road is going to be open this time. If we see anybody pit, you guys will get to listen into the reports. Nothing doing in the top 3 or 4 positions at least. Justin Allgaier coming onto pit road. That's a big one from 10th place. Austin Hill coming down as well as they're all in the running for the championship.
As well pits with him, so now that means that the 7 and the 21 have put this 0-0 kind of on an island by himself in this points battle. It's going to be very fascinating, Dave, how this all plays out.
They went back and forth. Jim Pullman said to him, if 4 in front of you pit, then we pit. Well, obviously none did, but then he called him in, pit, pit, pit. Now, Justin's car is loose. He really needed an adjustment to be better, but as you pointed out, the last set of tires right here, Marty.
Now, the only move Austin Hill and the 21 team can make, Mike Shilpa making the call to bring him down pit road. Hill said the car went through a dramatic screen, got way tight, especially 5/8 mark of the corner. So these guys putting on their final set of Goodyear tires. When Hill came down pit road, he was minus 16 out of the championship 4 at the moment. So the move, hoping they will get him some track condition.
So remember that Austin Hill and Justin Allgaier would both be below the cutoff line if Sammy Smith goes to victory lane today. So that is why they are trying to race Cole Custer for that last spot. Custer has to finish within 4 positions of both Allgaier and Austin Hill to beat them both in the point standings. And obviously running in 4th place was doing that by a handful of positions. Currently, he has scored 26 points above the cutoff line, but that is because the 7 and the 21 have already pit. Now, the hope is that they can leapfrog in track position and or stay green to the end of this race. I don't really know how this is going to work out for them because this is their last set of tires, as you heard. So everybody who stayed out of the pit still has 1 set of tires left, but Austin Hill and Justin Allgaier do not. So if we get another yellow, they're obviously going to stay out of the pits. But to have to beat Custer by a handful of positions, it's not going to look good. Now, they would have to race each other. Allgaier and Hill would have been tied coming into this final stage based off the stage points both drivers scored in Stage 1, and none of them scored stage points in Stage 2. So if Sammy Smith does not win this race today, I should say if Sammy Smith, Sheldon Creed, and Chandler Smith don't win the race today, then either Allgaier or Hill will get in on points. And the battle between those two, because it was tied coming into this final stage, would mean that it's just whoever finishes better between them. So once again, Sammy Smith leads, so as of right now, he would get in with a win to the Championship 4. If that happens, Cole Custer would be the driver to make it on that last spot in points. And to ensure that, he would have to finish within 4 positions of Austin Hill and Justin Allgaier. So Allgaier and Hill can beat Custer, but Custer has to finish within 4 positions behind him. Front row restart for both the JGR Toyotas this time. Josh Berry taking the inside of row 2. I'm surprised we've seen so many drivers that were in second place when a caution comes out take the inside of row 2. It has not worked out for any one of those drivers once today, but Josh Berry's going to try it again anyway. We're going to have 90 laps to go in this ensuing restart. So 90 laps away to see who will make the Championship 4 in the NASCAR Xfinity Series in the cutoff race at Martinsville for the round of 8. Sammy Smith gets the launch green flag back in the air. Berry gets him a shot going into the first turn. Comes up off the curb a little bit, clears the 19, but stays in the lead. Berry to the inside of the 19 car of Myatt Snyder. Big lock into the brakes going on. Headed to turn 3. I couldn't tell who that was, but somebody in the inside lane locked the brakes up big time getting into that third turn. Justin Allgaier on the outside of a 3-wide battle with J.J. Yaley and Brett Moffitt underneath him. Hopefully he's got enough room to make it off the exit of the corner. He does, and now he's side by side rather than 3-wide. And we've got trouble somewhere on the racetrack as the caution flag's out again. And it is the 53 car bringing out the incident with 88 laps to go. Must have spun around or something. Not sure what happened there. Yeah, he did go for a spin off the front of the 28 car, it looked like. So I believe the 28 gets into the back of the 53, spun him out in the middle of 3 and 4, bringing out our 8th caution of the race. So 8 cautions here today at Martinsville. I'm sure we'll hit double digits at this rate. Had quite a few cautions today, and cautions tend to breed cautions, especially at Martinsville. Remo, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the stream. Give an update on the playoff standings. Yeah, once again, playoff standings as of right now, Cole Custer would have the final spot on points if Sammy Smith wins. Now, if Sammy Smith does not win this race because he is below the cutoff line and in a must-win situation, then Justin Allgaier and Austin Hill would be battling for that 4th spot to get into the Championship 4. And it's just whoever finishes better between Hill and Allgaier because they were tied up points entering the final stage. And right now, Austin Hill is 3 positions higher in the running order than Allgaier. Hill in 22nd, Allgaier 25th. Of course, the caution came out earlier in this stage with around 96 to go, so about 10 laps before this caution came out, and that allowed for Allgaier and Hill to go off strategy and pit. I mean, obviously, there's still that chance Sammy Smith does not win this race. If that happens, then there is still a chance for Allgaier and Hill to get in without having to beat the 0-0 of Cole Custer. But the way it stands right now, they would have to beat him. And now Sheldon Creek could also go out and win this race. He's in 4th place and has kind of been in the top 6 all day, but he hasn't really been in the top 3 for very long. Leaders actually on pit road.
They messed up the left front. They are pitting for some significant adjustments, Marty.
Sheldon Creek, top of your screen, pitting, and a playoff driver in the top 10. They they discussed about not coming. Then they decided eventually to do something different than everybody else. Creed said just way too free in the center of the corner for that 2-car. Last set of Goodyear tires going on with 85 to go.
I love the call by Creed. It's also
So a few more drivers obviously coming onto pit road there, taking their final set of tires. Chandler Smith, Myatt Snyder, Sheldon Creed are in. That's only going to put Sammy Smith, Josh Berry, Cole Custer, and all the rest of those guys at the front of the field further behind in the running order later in this race when they end up deciding to pit under a caution flag situation as well. So now we're looking at probably 6, 7 cars that they're going to have to restart behind instead of just 3 or 4. This will also move Allgaier and Hill up in the running order a little bit for the time being. Hill now to 17th, Allgaier to 20th. They were 22nd and 25th for the caution. So we had 5 cars hit pit road, to be exact there. Along with Snyder, Creed, and Chandler Smith, it looks like Connor Mosack and Daniel Hemrick also came to pit road. So those were the 5. 19 points is the difference on the cutoff line right now between Custer and Hill. Austin Hill, of course, won the regular season championship. But with the win by Sam Mayer a week ago at Homestead being below the cutoff line and another driver of Sammy Smith below the cutoff line leading today, that is why you're seeing 2 drivers who have been in the top 3 in points all year of Austin Hill and Justin Allgaier on the outside looking in right now on this playoff battle with about 83 to go in the race. And in the round at that. Interested to see if Barry takes the outside of row 1 this time. It worked for him last time, but he did have to use up the 19 of Myatt Snyder quite a bit to get back into second. I'm sure Barry wants to get another win at Junior Motorsports before his season is up. Of course, he'll be moving to the 4-car at Stewart-Haas Racing to go full-time Cup Series racing next season. Taking over for the retiring Kevin Harvick, who has 2 races left in his NASCAR Cup career. Lights are out on the pace car. They'll be going green this time by with 81 laps to go. Sammy Smith, Josh Berry on the front row once again. Cole Custer, Riley Herbst, row 2. Row 3 will be Sam Mayer and John Hunter Nemechek. Green flag back in the air. Sammy Smith's been on the inside of row 1 on every restart so far today. Hasn't made a mistake through it, and again has the lead off turn 2. I don't even think he's been side by side for the lead off turn 2 at all on restart. Josh Berry gets to the bottom lane. He did take the outside of row 1 that time. He gets a big bump from behind by Cole Custer, but is able to stay on that inside lane right near the curb. Custer working himself up in the running order just a little bit more. Trying to get himself in that position to potentially go out and win this race, because if he does that, that'd be huge, obviously, for Allgaier and or Hill. Sam Mayer, Riley Herbst leaning on each other. Nemechek looking 3 wide to the inside. Mayer backs out of it to not be 3 wide middle into turn 1. Smart move by the 1. Nemechek gets by him for position. Mayer couldn't fill the hole on the bottom quick enough, and Kaz Grau is going to get underneath them now through 3 and 4. Race leader Sammy Smith pulling away from Josh Berry and Cole Custer, though Custer still all over the back of the 8 car in the middle of the corners. Good run for Kaz Grau on the 26 for Sam Hunt Racing today as he moves himself into 7th place. I'll make that 6th place. Sam Mayer continues to lose positions. His teammate Brandon Jones looking to get around him. And Parker Retzlaff, who's been in the top 10 all day as well, looking to make a pass. Retzlaff's been hanging out between position 7 and 10 most of this race. Having a great run, one of his better runs of the season. Hoping to stay out of trouble and get a good finish. His teammate Jeb Burton, who started at the tail end of the field after making a mechanical change, they kept him from being able to put down a qualifying lap earlier today, has made himself up into the 11th place spot, just outside the top 10 looking in. A successful season for Jeb Burton in his first full-time season with Jordan Anderson racing this year as well. Red slap all over the 9 of Brandon Jones. Meanwhile, towards the front of the field, Cole Custer finally makes the pass for second place on Josh Berry. Parker Kligerman very slow, with major sparks coming out of the right front of his race car. And the caution flag is finally out. He missed the entrance of pit road. It looks like the right front tire's flat on Kligerman's car, and that is the reason for a ninth caution of the race today, as he could not get out of the way. Slow rated speed, no apron for him to pull off, and out of line on this very tight half-mile racetrack, so we'll make it to pit road under the caution flag, and this will be interesting to see if this is going to bring the rest of the leaders who haven't pit yet onto pit road. A lot of damage to Kligerman's car, both on the front and the back. Sammy Smith, Cole Custer still running 1-2. Josh Berry obviously in third. 73 laps to go at Martinsville, as we're again under our 9th caution of the race today. We'll stay right here with our live commentary coverage. Again, you're listening live on KRC. Be sure to hit the like button on the stream if you haven't done so yet. Our goal was 100 likes on the stream. We're up to 79 currently. And also hit the subscribe button for more daily NASCAR content. Live commentary streams every NASCAR race weekend for the Truck, Xfinity, and Cup Series right here on the channel. We'll have live commentary all next week for the Championship 4 races for the Truck, Xfinity, and Cup Series Friday through Sunday. And, of course, tomorrow's NASCAR Cup Series live commentary stream as well. That stream will begin at 1:30 Eastern Time tomorrow. Thomas Fontaine, thanks for tuning in. Getting closer to the end of this one. Spot for a race in the championship next week on the line. Rest of the leaders are on pit road, it looks.
Sam Mayer finishing up service, no adjustments there. As you see, Sammy Smith, top right. He said just need a little bit on lateral grip during the long run. Dave.
John Hunter Nemechek stayed on the track and did not pit this time.
Jonathan Tony told Cole Custer, Dave, do whatever the leader does. So when Sammy Smith came down pit road, Custer followed him. He said no concern about the handling, but Steve, he did say the volts are maybe an issue. 12.5 volts. When he turned everything off in the car electrically, it did go up to 13 volts. Does that concern you for Custer?
Absolutely. It tells me that the alternator's not charging. Maybe they can cycle it to see if it can work, but to run around here on a hot day with everything turned off, your cooling fans, your driver fans, I'm not sure if that's going to work for the 00. And for Sammy Smith in the 18, I think this is the time. You either pitted under this yellow junior, get fresh tires, or you committed to staying out the rest of the race, because Austin Hill was already up to 13th with a little bit fresher tires. This was going to be a really, really tough decision for Jeff Mendrick either way. He feels like the tires weren't going to hold on all the way to the end of the race. So you can't pit with 20 to go and give your driver no time to use his fresh tires. So here is the commitment. We'll see if it works out. Such a great car in clean air, though. He's going to have his work cut out for him now.
I'll be honest with you, the 12.5 volts doesn't really bother me. I mean, that doesn't sound like, that's that low. Especially at this point in the race under all loads, right? Brake fans and all those other things. I mean, what do you typically expect out of the voltmeter at this point?
Running 14,
Yeah.
the alternator's working.
Okay.
So it's not charging. It really comes down to the battery making it or not, right? So to your point, there is less than 75 to go, so you think you probably can manage it. The question is, if he has to shut his fans off, does it take away car performance? I think they can probably nurse it to the end, but can they nurse it to the end with the speed they need?
Yeah, Sammy Smith,
This stuff
contact right here. See the 35 trying to pit the 8 coming out. Contact at the left front, and I'm not sure how much damage it is on Josh Berry's car.
This is maybe a better look at it. I'm not quite sure. But so 35 just trying to find his stall. Wow, that's hard contact for Josh on the right front.
Those moments you're thankful you're at a short
That's why-
track, right? If that's at a big track, you're crushed.
Yeah, that's why you want that number one pit stall.
Absolutely.
You see all the damage that happened to Sam Mayer there as he was coming out of his stall.
This race for Sam Mayer is just a reminder. It's not as easy as it's been lately. Right? Everything's been going great for Sam Mayer. got himself a chance to win a championship next weekend. This is a wake-up call. Hey, gotta be on your game. Everything's gotta go right. You gotta do everything perfect. Sometimes these races are great reminders headed into a big race like that's coming up.
Sammy Smith had this same challenge earlier. Remember, they pitted before the end of the stage. He got all the way back to 6th in that stage. So here he is on the outside. I'm going to call it, what's that, row 8, maybe 9, maybe 10, row 9 or 10. So now he's going to have to work and work hard. You mentioned the struggle that Allgaier and Austin Hill had on a couple restarts. The 18 needs to make these tires work right away.
John Hunter Nemechek on the inside. Austin Hill on the outside. As we get ready for the restart. Now just 68 laps to go. Older tires versus fresher tires. How long will it take for those fresher tires to work? As Sammy Smith already fighting to try to break into the top 10.
We're 3 wide right here down into turn 1.
A little bit of contact right there from the 11.
A lot of contact around Justin Allgaier as he makes a great 3-wide move to get to 3rd place. Still 3 wide out of his rearview mirror with Lane Riggs, Brett Moffitt, and Anthony Alfredo. Sammy Smith logged in line right behind all this on fresher tires than all the cars in front of him. A lot of beating and banging going on. I'm just waiting for that car in that 3rd lane on the outside to get squeezed into the wall one of these times off the exit of the corner. That has not happened yet, and Anthony Alfredo continues on. Oh, and that time it nearly happened. A lot of contact with the 19. One car down into the inside wall into the first turn. It's the 24 of Mosak. He spins in front of Jeremy Clement, which also collects the 27 of Jeb Burton, who didn't seem to have too much damage. And the caution's out for the 10th time today, and a lot of damage on Chandler Smith's race car as he tried to get through there. Cole Custer, a little more damage to the front of his race car than what he would like as well, as he tried to get through that mess, and that's the risk you have of pitting when you did to put yourself back in the middle of the pack later in the race. Looked like Mike Snyder got hung up on the 91 of Josh Bilicki when they were 3 wide, and then in essence, to try to miss the 2 cars that were hung up on each other in the middle of the outer groove, Connor Mosak came from the top to the bottom. Might have had contact with Riley Herbst, which sent him into the inside wall, making for a very awkward angle getting into turn 1 where he ended up losing control. Mid-spin, Jeremy Clements hit him in the left rear, and then it looked like the 27 of Jeb Burton got a piece of the 51 as well. Our 10th caution of the race today is out with 63 laps to go at Martinsville. A lot of damage between Myatt Snyder coming back up the racetrack after that contact from Connor Mosak is when he got into the 00 of Cole Custer, causing the damage on the left front fender of his race car. Custer in 14th. Seemed like he was going to be in a great position to make it to the championship 4. Right now, he's 6 points below the cutoff line with Allgaier and Hill up in front of him based off of the pit strategy. But again, Custer trying to stay in this race. He's got to make up those 6 positions. In 14th, he definitely could do so based off the number of cars that will still be in front of him. It is possible Allgaier and Hill could lose spots as well. A lot of faster cars still behind them that had just exited pit road not that long ago. John Hunter Nemechek at the front of the field right now has been the only car that has not hit pit road at any point in time since Stage 3 started, other than during the actual Stage 2 break. But once we got back to green flag racing to begin Stage 3, Nemechek, again, the only one that has not hit pit road yet. And that is why he leads. I don't know if he's going to just try to go to the end, hoping we get a bunch of caution laps so the tire wear itself won't be too bad, I would imagine. The more caution laps we run, probably better for Nemechek. It's also going to allow him to save fuel, even though he should be plenty good on fuel at the end of the race, as the fuel window is more than 130 laps at Martinsville, with this being a half-mile racetrack. And again, that was the original length of this final stage, but again, majority of these laps have been ran under caution. We've seen 10 cautions in the race today, but already 3 of them in the first roughly 60 green flag laps, or since we went green with about 60 laps ago from where we were to begin stage 3. We'll go through the full field running order real quick with 60 to go in this race as we're under caution. John Hunter Nemechek leads. Austin Hill is second. Justin Allgaier third. Brett Moffitt fourth. Lane Riggs fifth. Blaine Perkins sixth. Sheldon Creed seventh. Daniel Hemrick eighth. Sammy Smith ninth. Riley Hurst is 10th. Myatt Snyder in 11th. 12th place is Cole Custer. Roger Caruth in 13th. 14th for Kaz Gralla. Brandon Jones 15th. Parker Retzlaff 16th. Jeb Burton 17th. 18th for Josh Williams. Brennan Poole 19th. Ryan Ellis 20th. Akinori Ogata in 21st, 22nd for Jeffrey Earnhardt. Sam Mayer has had one heck of a day in 23rd. Chad Fincham, 24th. Josh Berry, 25th. CJ McLaughlin, 26th. JJ Yaley, 27th. Ryan Sieg, 28th. Chris Hacker, 29th. Anthony Alfredo, 30th. Jeremy Clements, 31st. Josh Balicki, 32nd. 33rd place for Connor Mosack. Scroll down the screen to get through the rest of the lineup. Waiting. 34th place for Chandler Smith. He is 4 laps down. Parker Kligerman, 35th, also 4 laps down. Joe Graff Jr. out of the race, 36th. Devin Jones, 37th, is DNF'd, and Kyle Sieg, 38th. So 3 cars out of the race today at least. Sammy Smith has led the most laps so far with 148 laps led. He was the winner of Stage 2. Justin Allgaier won Stage 1 earlier in the race. Didn't mention it at the time, but I'll mention it now. Well, Justin Allgaier picked up his 13th stage win of the year by winning Stage 1. And then Sammy Smith would have had just his 2nd stage win of the season by winning Stage 2 here today. Five points to the good for Austin Hill as we run. 4 points to the good for Justin Allgaier. Cole Custer minus 4 points, and Sammy Smith in a must-win situation again in 9th place, but has led the most laps today and may have the fastest car with the best tires as well. Just can he get through the traffic? The more green flag laps, the better for Sammy Smith. But it has been a caution-filled race, and I'm sure it may stay that way to the finish as the aggression continues onward until we, of course, catch the red, not the red flag. Hopefully don't get a red flag. The checkered flag, though, by the end of this race. Down to 57 laps to go. Hole definitely in the nose of that 00. Again, hopefully it's not going to cause major issues here for Cole Custer. I'd like to see him stay in the race and make this battle for the championship 4 very close here down the stretch, which it definitely seems to be shaping up to be that way. Just Cody, thanks for tuning in. Chase Elliott versus Kyle Larson, who would win a fist fight. Larson's not a fighter, so I feel like I'd go Chase Elliott for that reason. I think we kind of saw that with Larson and Bubba last year, that I don't think Larson's the kind of guy that's going to go up and fight somebody. Now, I don't think that's the same for Chase Elliott either, but I'd probably lean towards Elliott. I would imagine he's probably got a slight size advantage over Larson, too. If I had to pick one, I don't see either of those two ever getting into a fight, let alone with each other. Regine Huddleston, thanks for tuning in here down the stretch as well. We're up to 85 likes on the stream, just under 200 concurrent viewers watching. Once again, hit that like button if you haven't done so. Our goal is 100 likes on the stream, and also subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We're on the road to 5,000 subs on the channel, trying to get there before the end of the season next weekend. So definitely do that so you can reach the goal. Of course, every one of these live commentary streams for the Truck Xfinity Cup Series gives me the repetition needed to hopefully be able to broadcast real NASCAR races down the road at the track in person, just pursuing my dream, essentially, of working in the sport of NASCAR one day. So appreciate everybody that has helped me along with that journey by coming in and tuning into these live streams every race weekend. 1 to go signal given that last time by. John Hunter Nemechek and Austin Hill will be the front row for the restart. Row 2 for Justin Allgaier, Brett Moffitt, Lane Riggs, and Sheldon Creed are going to be in row 3.
Outside line.
That cycle was very good for Sadie Smith. Restarted row 9, row 10 last yellow. Now he's all the way up in row 4.
Riding on board with Sammy right here. He has the best tires of all the cars out here in front of him, and he's going to try to make quick work. The laps are running out, but he's had it fast enough for his car to drive away from this field. Is it good enough to drive through it?
And he's done a great job. Like, he has not gotten himself in trouble. He's done a really good job.
Here we got 54 to go when we get the creature. Long way, 58.
Telling the driver where they are and what they need. Nemechek on the inside, Hill on the outside. Allgaier giving the 20 a shove.
Hill doing a good job on this outside right here. He's going to have to run this 20 really tight. 20 up the racetrack. Hill powers back on the throttle, noses ahead.
Hill strong on the outside. Once again, the 20. Little assistance there from the 7. Allgaier brings it in. Can he get to the back bumper again? This time he can. But they stay door to door for the lead. Hill, the nose just out in front. Can't quite clear it.
This will be a good exit for this 21 right here. Might be able to get down in front. He is. Austin Hill to the lead.
Austin Hill takes the point at Martinsville. Drivers trying to win their way into the championship 4, and Austin Hill wants to have that control as he's behind the wheel and caution comes out. And once again, the 53 goes around. So Ogata bringing another caution out today. This one's number 11.
That restart is what Austin Hill is all about. I mean, that's how he drives. Just very hard-nosed. Did everything right. Entered the corner high, any higher, and he's out of the groove, but entered it just the right amount so he could leave as low as possible. Pitched Nemechek down at the right places. We see that from Austin Hill. He's such a smart race car driver, but he's also super aggressive.
With Hill in front now, the 7 of Allgaier and the 00 Cole Custer separated by 4 points. Those two fighting for that final spot. Left restart. We return.
As I mentioned, caution filled as it continues to be that way here down the home stretch of the Dead on Tools 250 at Martinsville. 49 laps to go. Austin Hill taking the lead for the first time today on that last restart over John Hunter Nemechek as you listened to the broadcast coverage when it happened. Kenneth Kukowski, thanks for tuning into the stream as well. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to take that final spot. Austin Hill, who hasn't had anything from a pace standpoint today, has the track position late in this race. We'll be able to see if he can actually hang on to it. He has fresher tires than Nemechek, which definitely helped him on that last restart get to the lead from the outside lane. It'll be interesting if Nemechek will take the outside of row 1 on his older tires, or is he going to take the inside of row 2? Seen a lot of drivers do that today. It hasn't really worked out for many of them. Josh Berry got it to work one time, and that was about it. Again, we are at 49 laps to go. 4 Chevys in the top 5. The only Toyota is Nemechek at second. Highest running Ford on the leaderboard is actually Brett Moffitt in 6th. Riley Herbst is 9th, and Cole Custer is still back in 12th place. Custer has to finish within 4 positions of Justin Allgaier and or Austin Hill to make it to the championship 4. And I say and or because Hill leads this race now. Sammy Smith in a must-win situation has had probably the fastest car of the race today. He has led about 148 laps from the pole. He won Stage 2, was dominating Stage 3 up until the off-sequence pit stop cycled him back in about 9th place a couple restarts ago. And because we keep getting caution after caution, he's not having a lot of time to try to race his way back up there, as he currently sits in the 7th place position as we run. Interested to see if he can keep getting through these restarts cleanly and have a shot at it still at the end. If Sammy Smith or Sheldon Creed in a must-win situation were to win this race, then only one of Custer, Allgaier, or Hill will get in. Two of them will get in if Smith or Creed do not win, which is why you see Allgaier +4 above the cutoff line for those of you watching on the USA Network right now over Cole Custer. Obviously, Allgaier can't gain too many more positions unless he goes on to win this race, with sitting in 3rd. Custer can back in 12th. Here is Marty Snyder standing in with Chandler Smith.
The engine was about to blow up, and then kind of was managing the signatures and whatnot. And that last restart I was a part of, stacked up again, barely got to the guy in front of me and already had damage, so made it a lot worse. But just so excited. Had a really good year with this number 16 QuickTime group. Great group of guys. Had a lot of fun this year. I hate that we went out on this note, but looking forward to finishing things off in Phoenix, and can't wait to get back home with my wife and see what the good Lord has in store for us next year.
Rick, they made the round of 8, but the championship run ends here for Chandler Smith at Martinsville.
Well, we know one playoff driver now that has had his championship hopes dashed.
So Sammy Smith, with how everybody picked right there, what lane they chose, he gained a row. He's now starting at 6th in that outside lane. Cole Custer, 2 rows behind him.
Sammy Smith with the freshest tires. And we'll see how he does when he's starting in the 6th spot. Hill and Nemechek back into the gas. 44 laps to go.
It was not a great restart for that inside line of Austin Hill, and now the 20 of Nemechek has the advantage on the outside. Hill's going to have to be aggressive here. Look at the 0-0 at the bottom of your screen. Everybody race to the bottom. Look how many spots he picked up. Sammy Smith in the 5th place as well. That ain't even going to crash on the first straightaway. It's going to bring out another yellow.
That was a huge exchange for the 0-0. He got a lot of spots on the outside, and then this caution stops it, and now he has an advantage over the 7 car.
See all the damage to the 4 of Yaley. The 43 of Ryan Ellis.
And crush panel laying right there. Rear, left rear, probably left rear crush panel. 4 gets a little loose. I think the 43 was on his inside, and they just came together and really came together. The last little bit of contact doing quite a bit of damage.
Fabricators job security here at Martinsville. A lot of cars to fix.
Price of metal goes up every race.
So now Sammy Smith is scored 5th. Cole Custer has made his way up to 7th. The points between the 0-0 and the 7, 2 points separate them, with now Cole Custer in front of Allgaier for that last spot.
Let's watch this restart from Cole Custer's point of view. What happens here is that everybody starts fighting for the bottom of the racetrack, right? So everybody thinks, hey, I gotta go to the bottom, I gotta protect this. When he brings it to the bottom, and that opened the door. So now he's got a little better tire. He can drive in the corner, get alongside of him. He's in front of him right there. Then the caution comes out.
was big for Custer.
Yeah, went from a 4-point deficit to a 2-point advantage. Let's listen into their radio.
Well, the 2 is just a thing that they need. Honestly, the 21 and the 7 at this point, you got 4 of them up there just not to win to guarantee it. So it's going to get crazy here. So we're just going to have to fit this.
Gonna get. I feel like it's already been crazy.
Under 40 laps to go, and it might be just short stints to the end of this race. Cautions galore. There's already been 12 here at Martinsville.
I have moderate to severe Crohn's disease. Now there's Skyrizi. Things are looking up. I've got symptom relief. Control of my Crohn's means everything to me. Control is everything to me. Feel significant symptom relief at 4 weeks with Skyrizi, including less abdominal pain and fewer bowel movements. Skyrizi is the first IL-23 inhibitor that can deliver remission and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. And the majority of people experienced long-lasting remission at 1 year. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, had a vaccine or plan to. Liver problems may occur in Crohn's disease. Now's the time to ask your gastroenterologist how you can take control of your Crohn's with Skyrizi. Control is everything to me. Learn how AbbVie could help you save.
You're welcome, America.
We know Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell are going to fight for a championship at Phoenix next weekend, but who's going to join them? Tomorrow we will find out. 2 o'clock on NBC. This Cup Series playoff elimination race, where 2 more drivers will try to add their names to that championship 4. Will wrap up the evening at 6 o'clock with NASCAR America post-race. That will stream live on Peacock. But Denny Hamlin has said this is his year. He's below the cut line. He's going to have to fight for every point in every position here tomorrow at Martinsville. Marty.
Rick, meanwhile, 38 to go for the Xfinity Series set aside the Championship 4. Calculators working overtime in the 0-0 hit.
We need to see us no matter what they do. So we need to see us and we can go to Phoenix.
Steve, it can't get more simple than that, can it? Cole Custer knows he's sitting in 7th. He needs 2 more spots, and they get to race for a championship next Saturday.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into that. Potential new winners, who he's racing against. So restart here with 36 to go. It has a lot on the line. Sammy Smith knows what he has to do, but then you have Austin Hill and Allgaier counting points with Custer. Creed also right there in 3rd. Let's not count him out. What's he willing to do?
And to confuse the matter a little bit more, there's a few guys behind them that pitted later. Jeb Burton, lap 178. Riley Herbst, we've seen him in the front, 178. Brandon Jones, 178. So they have better tires than everybody in front.
Getting ready for the restart. Once again, John Hunter Nemechek on the outside. Austin Hill on the inside.
Green flag.
That inside line, again, not as good as the outside line. Nemechek coming off of 2. He's going to try to clear that 21 before they get into 3. He does. Here comes Allgaier. Creed and Allgaier side by side for 3rd. John Hunter Nemechek, already the winningest driver this year in the Xfinity Series with 7 race wins. Out in front, trying to make it 8.
In this battle behind, you saw Cole Custer jump to the outside. I question that decision. I don't think he recognizes that 27 car has newer tires.
And now how aggressive, with under 34 laps to go. Do these playoff drivers get?
Oh, a lot of spots right here. You saw the 7 have an issue.
Up the racetrack went Allgaier, and now here comes Cole Custer.
This is going to get tight.
The two cars in the best spots, Austin Hill and Cole Custer. And now it's Allgaier who's 4 spots back.
I don't know how he goes up there and gets those positions. He's got some really, really fast cars in front of him. Newer tires on that 27. And then Sammy Smith in 4th. Driving his heart out. This is a 7 car. Getting a little bit of help up the racetrack.
A little bit of smoke in front of Allgaier there. That was on pit road. Lane Riggs in the 11.
Oh, we got a spin in mid-pack.
Caution.
Yellow.
This time the 26 of Kaz Grala with a lot of damage to the front end. 13 cautions. And still 30 laps remain.
And every caution, Sammy Smith gets 1 or 2 cars. Up to 4th spot now.
Yeah, you mentioned those drivers with new tires. Sammy Smith is leading the way, right? Sammy Smith, Jeff Burton, Cole Custer, all the same amount of laps on their tires. And they're making it much harder for Allgaier to try to find those positions.
I'm waiting for these restarts to get even more insane because, you know, you have both RCR cars right there. The 21 in Austin Hill, if he just maintains position, he's going to go through into the championship 4. But his teammate, the number 2, he's in a must-win, right? And what a terrible situation to be in. In a must-win with your teammate right there in front of you. So some hard decisions have to be made, and I'm sure they've talked about this, but still, nothing can prepare you mentally for what mental gymnastics you have to go through on these restarts, and also trying to take care of your teammate, but also trying to go win this race, not knock him out of the playoffs if you can help it, right?
But remember, Sheldon Creed has already announced he will not be back at RCR next year. So
remember this, guys. This was Bristol Teammates Racing, right? 2 guys going at it. The 2 of Creed got into the 21 of Hill, and there was not decent love in that team after that. I mean, there was a lot of anxiety and discontent, and now here they are. And, you know, this is a tough spot for everybody involved. You know, I think that is also a good point by you, Rick. That the 2 is, you know, Creed's told everybody he's not coming back. RCR said he's not coming back, you know, and rumors about where he may be going. But that certainly changes the dynamic. If you're not returning to this team, we're going to take a look at this restart here with Kaz Grala, this wreck, and how this all got started. Just back in the pack, patience is out. Everybody's out of patience. Getting down into the corner, getting in the back of people, getting run over, these type of things are going to happen to several drivers as these, you know, late race cautions just pile up. But it presents opportunity for Creed. It presents opportunity for Allgaier and Sammy Smith.
right now, Cole Custer in that 0-0 above the cut line, but only 3 points. Marty stated by with crew chief.
Let's chat with Jonathan Tony. First of all, you got enough batteries left in your calculator, and any concern with the volt issue from earlier?
No, I think we got that solved now. We figured out what that problem was. It's a stress-on hole, guy, I tell you that. But, I'm so proud of this team, so proud of Cole. Where we've come from this year, no matter what, I'm proud. Maybe we can get there and go to finish and run for a championship.
Hey, I agree with Jonathan. You can feel the tension down here on pit road with the playoff drivers.
Jim Pullman knows his driver, Justin Allgaier, is in a tough spot. What way through do you see, Jim?
Well, I mean, it's not over until it's over. Obviously, we're not in a position we want to be in. That's tough on everybody right now, but, Martinsville's, anything can happen here. Late in the race, we saw it last year. Unfortunately, we got a couple guys that are in a must-win in front of us, so maybe that happens. I don't know. We'll see what goes on.
All right, what will you do? What will you do to make it to the championship four? Let's listen into the 0-0 radio, what they might do.
27 spotter is, but I just let him know that we're going to have to go here. He comes across my nose, which he wasn't bad there, but he was across my nose. I'm just going to have to bump him.
I like the tone in which it was delivered. So Jeb's fighting for the bottom because that's where he wants to be, and Cole said, listen, it wasn't that bad, which it wasn't, but I appreciate it's kind of like, hey, man, look, this is the situation I'm in. Just like a pre-apology.
Just in case I do something, I'm going to apologize.
25 laps to go for this next restart. John Hunter Nemechek and Austin Hill in the front row once again. Green flag back in the air. Nemechek on the inside lane. Austin Hill on the outside is 3 points above the cutoff line. His teammate Sheldon Creed in a must-win situation on the inside of row 2. Gets to the inside of Austin Hill for second place off turn 2. And Sammy Smith also in a must-win situation back there in fourth. A little contact between Creed and Smith. Battling for third. Allgaier gets back into the top 5, passing Jeb Burton on the restart. Big gain of position there for Justin Allgaier. Trying to see what he can do to get underneath the 18 car of Sammy Smith. Smith cuts him off, looking to the bottom. Sheldon Creed blocking. Creed gets himself punted up the racetrack now by Sammy Smith. Leans on his door all the way off of turn 4. 23 to go. Sammy Smith to the inside of Creed. No longer on the outside, but still battling for third place. Sammy Smith is clear of Sheldon Creed getting into turns 3 and 4. Goes up the hill, kind of taking Creed's line away a little bit there. And now the 7 car of Justin Allgaier is going to be looking for fourth place underneath Sheldon Creed. Allgaier is 3 points behind Austin Hill for the final playoff spot. Nemechek already locked into the championship 4 off of points from the first 2 stages, and Sam Mayer locked in with a win a week ago at Homestead. Leaving 2 spots open. Cole Custer plus 4 points, plus 3 for Austin Hill, and minus 3 for Justin Allgaier. If Sammy Smith gets up to the lead and wins this race, there's a 1-point difference between Cole Custer and Austin Hill as of right now. And that would be for the final spot. Allgaier still working on Sheldon Creed for fourth. Side by side for a couple laps in a row. Allgaier slides the rear tires middle of the corner. Did a great job for the most part keeping it off of Creed. Custer's right there watching both of them. Just can't get through the middle of the corner very well as Allgaier. Now they bang fenders. Creed might have gotten stuffed into the wall off turn 4, and he leans on Allgaier down the front straightaway after the fact. Allgaier clear. Creed sends him into the corner. Up the hill goes Allgaier. He's going to lose 2 positions to Creed and Custer, and now he chases the 2. Custer to the inside of Sheldon Creed for a spot. How aggressive is Allgaier going to be here if he gets back to Sheldon Creed? Creed's still on the outside of Cole Custer. Creed's doing a really good job on the outside lane, though, getting the drive off needed to not allow the car on the inside to make an easy pass. Although he is definitely not giving Custer a whole lot of room on the bottom to be able to get the drive off needed to stay alongside Creed at the same time. It'll be interesting to see if they still stay in the position they're in. I would like to think Custer's got a faster car than Sheldon Creed, but Creed's doing a phenomenal job in that outside lane. Everybody in front of these drivers in this battle for fourth is pulled away. They're over 3 seconds ahead of them. Sammy Smith, Austin Hill, and John Hunter Nemechek. Custer gets hit from behind there from Allgaier, who's looking to get going. And he made a slight bit of contact with Sheldon Creed as well. Car is in the wall on the outside of the racetrack. Anthony Alfredo has spun off of turn 4, bringing out our 14th caution of the race with 14 laps to go.
Every caution, he gains 1 position. Another opportunity on the restart.
And now in third, I believe he's going to be able to choose inside row 2. I think it's going to be his opportunity. And that is, we've seen it before. That is a prime bowling ball position right there. If you can move the leader and get the guy in second, you can get the 2-for-1 shot, being the leader off turn 2.
We We have seen that before.
Yeah, we ask the question all the time, like, what are they willing to do? We see them race all year long. So far today, we've not seen them do anything that they've not done before, right? They raced each other with pretty decent respect. I mean, it's a short track, and there's going to be trade paint, but now, like, presented with an opportunity, this is an 18 bowling ball down into turn 1. I mean, does anybody do that, right? To try to move themselves into the championship 4? What is okay, right? What is okay and what isn't? We've seen a lot of things happen on the Cup side, and certainly some wild things happen on the truck side and Xfinity side as well. But here we are with a late restart.
Yeah, under 12 laps to go. Let's reset how we've gotten here. Sam Mayer was locked in before the race started to the championship 4. John Hunter Nemechek with a decent finish in the first stage locked himself up. There was some damage there to Sam Mayer, but again, he's already locked into that championship 4.
Then the 7 of Allgaier went on to win stage 1, scoring a very important 10 points.
Cole Custer, Lane Riggs, Aggressive Racing, contact around those Lane Riggs.
18 car, Sammy Smith winning stage 2, looking like the dominant car at the point of the day. And John Hunter Nemechek, through all of that, was able to lock himself in and advance.
So that means only 2 spots remain. The one of Sam Mayer spins Lane Riggs. So now Riggs is wondering, what have I done to you folks out here?
Yeah, Cole Custer in the 00 gets a little bit of damage. I'm not sure it's hurt his car. You see the hood buckled up in this quest to advance. Currently above the line, while the 16 of Chandler Smith finally overheated and wasn't able to continue.
One of the playoff drivers out. So now it's down to the 00 of Cole Custer, who is 6 points above Allgaier. Austin Hill currently 4 points above Allgaier. Allgaier running in that 5th spot as far as the championship is concerned, which is 1 spot out of where he wants to be.
You know, Dale, you mentioned it too when the 18 decided to pit. You were asking how many laps are we actually going to run. So think about John Hunter Nemechek. The last time he was on pit road, the current leader of the race, was at the end of stage 2. He's yet to pit in this final stage. And while we see all these cars running 2nd, 5th, 6th, and 3rd, John Hunter's leading. They've only run 61 green flag laps in this final stage.
Yeah, so you have to wonder if the 18 car stays out. Is he actually in position to continue to control the front of this field? But as we get later into this race, 10 laps to go, we had a really wild one on our hands last season. Everybody remembers this moment. Brandon Jones gets sent around by his teammate, Ty Gibbs, down in turn 1 and 2.
Ty Gibbs goes on to win the race. He was already locked into the championship, but that eliminated Brandon Jones. And now, getting ready for the restart. Under 10 laps remain.
We've got 2 sets of teammates up here as well, just like last year.
And remember, Sammy Smith, Sheldon Creed, 2 drivers that have to win if they want to advance to the championship 4 next week.
And the last time Austin Hill started on the outside, he actually got the lead from John Hunter Nemechek.
8 laps to go on the restart ensuing. John Hunter Nemechek, Austin Hill on the front row here. Sammy Smith inside of row 2. Fresher tires on the 18. Can he get it done to make it to the championship 4 at Phoenix where he won at earlier in the season? Green flag back in the air for Nemechek, his teammate who is out in front of the field. Austin Hill trying to get a win as well, or at least salvage a spot into the championship 4. Sammy Smith gets hit from behind by Cole Custer after overdriving the entry a little bit on the bottom lane of turns 1 and 2. He falls back to the inside of 4th place, and now Austin Hill moves the 20 of John Hunter Nemechek out of the way. Nemechek bottlenecks the outside lane. Allgaier gets into him. Sammy Smith and Cole Custer are beating fenders on the bottom. More contact between Custer and Allgaier. So with Hill in the lead, it's a 3-point, make that 2-point difference. Big crash on the back straightaway as almost a dozen cars collected. Putting ourselves under a caution once again in the late going. Myatt Snyder, Brandon Jones, Jeremy Clements, Jeffrey Earnhardt, Kaz Grala, and a few others also involved. Roger Cruz in it. A parking lot crash on the back straightaway in the back half of the field has brought us under our 15th caution of the race with 6 laps to go at Martinsville after Austin Hill takes the race lead away from John Hunter Nemechek. After Nemechek gets punted on this restart after taking the race lead away there initially, and the contact started back with Lane Riggs and Myatt Snyder. Once they got sideways, everybody else started piling in behind them. Riggs, for the most part, was able to drive on, but obviously Snyder got turned around there, and he actually had a little bit of contact with Jeb Burton, who was in the outside lane right in front of him. This is going to put us under the red flag for the first time today with 6 to go.
You mentioned the 18, right? So he's thinking inside the 20. He tries to get back in line, and then he just bonsais the curb. Watch him hit this inside curb. Jumps right over the curb. That sends him straight up the racetrack. See the car spark and bottoming out. Lucky the Double Zero didn't hit him harder, and that really is what hurt the 18s 1 and 2.
And that's what caused the stack up, too. I mean, behind him, that's what caused all of that stack up that Junior just showed everybody. That was the beginning of it.
John Hunter Nemechek with a little bit of a push from the 20 sent him up the racetrack.
Yeah, Austin Hill did an incredible job right there, putting the pressure on the 20 on the entry to 3.
This would be a great view of what happens to the 18 right here. Oh, this is in 3 and 4. That's what we already saw. That's the 20 going up the hill.
So the Double Zero's 3 wide right here. Somebody's now on his door. He has to get out of the gas here. His teammate. Yep, he's just trying to survive. It's like, get me to the finish.
And these are teammates, too, by the way. Yeah. That's just a lot of conflicts out there.
I wonder if the 18 would have just ran his normal line into 1, he'd have had a lot of momentum off turn 2.
Yeah, hey, he's a young driver trying to win a race, trying to go to Phoenix to join the championship 4 with a chance to win a championship, and just a little too aggressive there.
Yeah, that low entry into 1. I mean, even if you do get the run on the guy in front of you, there's nothing good going to come of that angle on entry. Let's listen to Sammy Smith.
Yeah, literally that one up. Didn't get me that curve. I thought I was far enough left, but all good. It happened. We'll beat it. Got a long way to go here. Gonna have multiple restarts.
I think it's an accurate assessment on everyone's part. I think 6 to go. We'll probably be really close to overtime before this thing starts, but you would think a couple half-mile laps should be easy to finish, but I'm not sure it's going to be that straightforward.
Easy? Did you say easy?
You would think it would be. It's just 2 half-mile laps.
What do you think a driver like, let's say Sheldon Creed? What would Sheldon Creed do in this situation? He's running second right now in our scoring bar. Let's dial up Sheldon Creed and talk to him.
Hey, Sheldon, it's the NBC booth. You got a copy? Try it one more time. Hey, Sheldon, you got a copy? It's the NBC booth.
Yes, I hear you guys.
Well, man, eventful to say the least. Martinsville's always are. Here you are in position, looking at a sprint to the finish. How's the day been and the outlook ahead?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've had a decent day so far. We're inside the top 10. Most of it here, but we have an outsider here at the end. Been in the middle of this points battle. Not a whole lot of fun, but gonna do what we can here to try to get ourselves a win and into the championship. So.
Well, you mentioned that win. What is the strategy on these starts? Can you just try to roll the top, or are you just waiting for the contact from behind? It seems like everybody's pushing and shoving.
Yeah, I don't know. I've kind of bounced back and forth on what my decisions have been. So, gonna see where we line up here. Who's gonna be behind us, and I can make my decision with that.
All right, man. Appreciate you taking the time. Good luck.
So that's a great question, about restart, everything that's coming up. And I think Austin Hill has a very difficult decision to make. We've seen him get the lead from the outside. And so you would think, well, then you should restart on the outside. But once you do that, now you have exposed the left side of your car to damage because of the guy underneath you moving you up the racetrack and running you out of the groove. This is a very difficult decision. And if you're Austin Hill, what you got to be willing to do, I think, is take the bottom, but don't run the bottom when you get to 1. You got to use the guy up. Get him up the racetrack in 2. You can't do it on corner entry because if you do, you open the bottom up to the guy behind you getting you. But it is an opportunity to go win a championship, and that's not dirty racing. That's Martinsville racing. I'm not saying wreck a guy, but running it out of the groove on a restart, that's pretty acceptable for Martinsville.
Well, let's hear from the crew chief of the 21. Marty's there.
Let's chat with Mike Shiplett filling in for Andy Street this weekend. Boy, you guys had not a good handling race car early on. How did you guys get into this position, Mike?
We just kept working on the car all day. The guys made some good pit stops. Austin Hill's done a great job driving, and just going to get this Chevy Camaro to the end here and see which one of the RCR cars is the best one at the end.
So with teammates beside you potentially on this restart, what's fair, what's not fair?
Hey, they're both racers, and they're going to race 100%, and we're going to find out here in 6 more laps, probably about 3 laps of green.
There you go, Austin Hill in the lead right now, Kim.
Well, Marty, Sammy Smith has led 147 laps today. Crew Chief Jeff Hendren calling the shots. Assess your chances. I know Sammy didn't get the restart last time he wanted. What does he need to do here?
I wish we were 3rd instead of 4th, but I don't know. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of bumpers, a lot of people moving cars around. Just proud of our team and the car we brought here and the job Sammy's done today. We're definitely not out of this thing by any means. It's going to be exciting, and I'm sure Sammy's going to do whatever it takes to get through. So.
Love the optimism of this team.
Quick shout out to Clyde in the chat for dropping a $5 super chat, saying, "Great job, sir. Keep up the good work." Appreciate that. Sorry I didn't get to that sooner as we were getting down the home stretch, I should say, for this race, but appreciate that. And appreciate each and every single one of you guys that are watching this stream here today as well. Be sure to hit that like button if you haven't done so yet. We have hit our goal of 100 likes on the stream. We are currently up to 102. So let's keep running that like counter up and try to get even more here before the end. And also subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you have not done so. If you're new to the channel, we do live commentary streams every NASCAR race weekend for the NASCAR Truck, Xfinity, and Cup Series races. Now, I can't talk here for a second. Obviously, we only have another week left of the NASCAR season after today. Next weekend, the NASCAR Truck, Xfinity, and Cup Series head to Phoenix for their Championship 4 races. We do have coverage of tomorrow's NASCAR Cup Series race, though, on the channel at Martinsville as well. Our coverage will begin at 1:30 Eastern Time. So, again, 1:30 tomorrow for our pre-race coverage, followed by our live commentary flag-to-flag coverage of the Round of 8 finale on the Cup Series side at the Paperclip. It's a wild race, to say the least, here today. Very much caution-filled at the Martinsville Speedway. We'll go over some of the race analysis and race stats of this one as we're under this red flag period with 6 laps to go. Following a bit of a parking lot crash on the back straightaway off this most recent restart. A couple laps into the restart where the crash ended up happening right around 15th place and ended up stacking up several cars behind them as well. Sammy Smith has led the most laps with 148 laps led so far. He is currently scored, I think, in 4th place off of this restart, either 4th or 5th. John Hunter Nemechek led 54 laps as the second most laps today. Just lost the lead on the last restart to Austin Hill. Hill's led just 12 laps in this one, 2 different times, both off of restarts in this final stage. We'll see if he holds on at the end. Sheldon Creed, who's in second place in a must-win situation to make the Championship 4, has not led at all yet today. And in fact, second place is as high as he has been in the running order so far today, which is where he currently is right now. This was our 15th caution after the biggest wreck of the race by the number of cars involved in the incident, which has dropped us to 27 cars on the lead lap right now. A lot of those drivers that you see at the back of the lead lap were involved in this most recent accident. I'm counting drivers from Jeffrey Earnhardt in 17th place on back was involved in this last incident. I don't know how many of those drivers are going to be able to actually continue. Obviously, with having the red flag immediately on the backstretch, that's why they're still scored on the lead lap. Some of them will probably be able to continue on the lead lap, but some of them will not. whether they could actually continue the race but have to pull out the fenders from the tires, whatever the case is. Top 16 cars would have not been involved in that incident, but everybody else, obviously, further back was either involved in that incident or involved in one of the other 14 incidents that we've had so far in this race. So the RCR boys at the front of the field of Austin Hill and Sheldon Creed, if we look at the point standings based off of how things look right now, Austin Hill is the leader of this race. He was tied on points coming into the final stage with Justin Allgaier, so he has to basically finish ahead of Allgaier if he does not win. So I'm going to try to make this as simple as possible for you guys watching at home, wondering the actual point stipulation if Austin Hill does not win this race. If Sheldon Creed wins this race, he is in the championship 4, obviously with a win. Because he is below the cutoff line, that would knock out, as of right now, Justin Allgaier, because Justin Allgaier is 2 points behind Cole Custer for what is currently the final spot. Now, Austin Hill would have to finish at least one position ahead of Justin Allgaier. So Creed wins. Hill will still get into the championship 4 as long as he finishes one position ahead of Allgaier and more than 4 positions ahead of Cole Custer. Custer is currently 7th. If Austin Hill finishes 2nd, Cole Custer has to get to at least 5th place in order to knock Hill out of the playoffs. So there is a chance that both of these RCR cars could actually make the championship 4. And that's mainly due to the fact that Cole Custer lost several positions on the last restart. He was in 3rd. Now he's back in 7th. And this is going to be a much different scenario for him now, as he may have to pick up a couple positions if Hill ends up losing the lead. Sammy Smith did fall back to 5th, it looks like, as of the time of the caution. Sammy Smith also in a must-win situation alongside Sheldon Creed. The only other driver in a must-win situation is Chandler Smith, but he's already out of the race today. Had an engine failure earlier after sustaining damage from several incidences in the middle portion of the race. And again, that has knocked Chandler Smith out of this one. We'll take our last ad break of the race today, and we'll continue our live commentary coverage here going to the finish of this one. Once again, be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. You're listening live to the Dead on Tools 250 at Martinsville on KRC.
Position there, that last restarted. I thought I was going to have enough momentum to get into the 20 there and just flip the curve and kind of screw myself a little bit. But, we got another shot out of here, and I'm going to make it happen.
Talk about that. Everything on the line, teammates in front of you, a team outside you. Just how much kind of goes through your head on the restarts, or how much of it is just instinct? You have to react to the car in front of you.
Yeah, I think, I hit it pretty hard where it shot me up the track. So once I saw I was going to hit it, I just checked out so I didn't wreck myself. But, yeah, probably should have just pushed him and did what 21 did to him and did 3. And probably would have been in a better position. But can't take it back. Just got to look forward and see what we got.
Well, I've been coming here for many decades, and I'll assure you at least have one more, if not 2, 3, 4. There's no telling how many more shots you'll have at this.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a dogfight till the end, and we'll keep digging.
All right, man. Appreciate you taking the time to put a show on for the fans. Good luck in these final 6.
Thank you.
All right, let's do a little anticipation of what we're about to see. We'll start with Kim in the 18.
Well, Rick, we know what making a championship 4 means for the drivers, but what about the team? Specifically, this Joe Gibbs Racing team. We talked about it at the top of our broadcast, but this was the team that Brandon Jones was with last year. They call it deja vu, what they're going through this weekend. Last year, they won the pole. They won a stage. They were leading on the last lap before getting pushed out of the way to make it to the championship 4. This weekend with their driver, Sammy Smith, this year, they won the pole. They won the stage. Now they're finding themselves in a position to strike and get the win. They called, if winning this race gets them to the championship 4, complete redemption for this team and what happened last year, Dave.
Kim, we heard Chip Bowman talk about it earlier for Justin Allgaier. Anything can happen. This is Martinsville. A lot could still happen here. And he was told, heads up in front of you. Now, that was when he had 4 guys in front of him. He's still got 2 in front of him that have to win. They're going to be all over each other. So, heads up, Justin.
Dave, what would you be willing to do to win a championship? Sheldon Creed was asked that earlier this week, and he said, I would be willing to move someone in a, quote, respectful way. Well, the person he may need to move, his teammate, Austin Hill. We saw a moment ago. They've already had run-ins so far this year. But keep this in mind. Sheldon Creed will not be racing at Richard Childress Racing next year. Austin Hill will no longer be his teammate. Sheldon Creed, Rick, has never won an Xfinity Series race. A walk-off win today could mean a ticket to the Championship 4 and maybe a very mad teammate if he knocks him out of the Championship 4.
Well, that teammate, but it could be teammates that advance for Richard Childress from the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, so this last restart, while we're under red, let's revisit it. Just going to matter of who's mad at who, right? Who's gonna, who feels like they owe somebody something. You see the 18 on the bottom, he hits the curve, up the racetrack he goes. A lot of contact in the back. Right now, here's the 21 into the 20, moves him up the racetrack. So we know the 20's upset. Then watch this contact, 3 wide, the 7 into the 20. Hope Custer into the 7. So there's a lot of what race car drivers do is they process what is it I need to do and who just did what to me, because all that they did was write a permission slip. A guy gets into the side of me late in the race, I get another restart, he's on the outside of me, he just gave me a permission slip to move him out of the way he moved me out of the way. Every one of those guys remembers what happens on that restart and who they're willing to pay back.
It is going to be a sprint to the finish here at Martinsville. So much on the line for these drivers. A chance at their hopes and dreams. That championship out in front of them.
Still having cleanup on the back straightaway as we are remaining under red flag conditions with 6 laps to go in the Dead on Tools 250 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Martinsville Speedway. Austin Hill is currently your race leader. We'll blow through the rest of the running order right now while we're still under red. Sheldon Creed is in second. John Hunter Nemechek is third. Justin Allgaier fourth. Sammy Smith fifth. Riley Herbst sixth. Cole Custer is seventh. Josh Berry eighth. Jeb Burton ninth. Blaine Perkins in 10th. Daniel Hemrick in 11th. Parker Retzlaff in 12th. Lane Riggs in 13th. Sam Mayer 14th. Parker Kligerman 15th. Anthony Alfredo 16th. Jeffrey Earnhardt 17th. Raja Caruth 18th. CJ McLaughlin 19th. And Brandon Jones is 20th. 21st for Josh Williams. Jeffrey Earnhardt 22nd. Chad Fincham 23rd. 24th for Brett Moffitt. Josh Bilicki 25th. Myatt Snyder 26th. Kaz Gralla 27th. Ryan Ellis 28th. Chris Hacker 29th. Connor Mosack 30th. Joe Graff Jr. 31st. Brendan Poole 32nd. 33rd for Akinori Ogata. 34th place, I believe, is J.J. Yaley. Ryan Sieg 35th. Chandler Smith 36th. Devin Jones 37th. And Kyle Sieg rounds out the 38-car field today. So once again, Austin Hill is the race leader. He does not need to win the race to win the championship. But if he does fall out of the lead and Sheldon Creed wins this race, who is in a must-win situation, or Sammy Smith, who is in fifth, also in a must-win situation, has a very good race car as well. If either one of those two drivers win, then Austin Hill, to make it to the championship 4, would need to beat Justin Allgaier by 1 position and then beat Cole Custer by at least 4 positions in order to win the championship. So, again, he would have to beat Cole Custer by 4 positions to win the championship, to advance to the championship 4. So Austin Hill would have to finish 4 positions ahead of Custer, 1 position ahead of Allgaier if Creed and Sammy Smith win. If neither Sheldon Creed or Sammy Smith win, Austin Hill also fails to go to victory lane, then he would still have to finish within 1 position of Allgaier or 4 positions ahead of Custer. It wouldn't have to be both of them. It would just be one or the other.
Yep, simple. We did everything we could do today. Just got to finish it off.
Look, even with as long as this red flag is, there's not enough time to explain all the different scenarios because there's so many potential winners, right? Austin Hill currently leads. Creed wins. It changes completely, right? The only one that doesn't really change winning would be Nemechek, but then you have Sammy Smith there, right there, that could win and change the complexion of this. So I agree with the 00 crew chief, right? Not inspirational and not really sure what to tell you other than forward is better than backwards. Get as many points as you can. Don't worry about a point here or a point there. Assume you need them all, and let's see where this shakes out.
You mentioned the brakes. You know, what happens with the heat? Well, I want to add the driver to that. I mean, this has been a 20-minute red flag. It is not normal heat today in Martinsville. It's in the mid-80s. And sitting in a race car at Martinsville with the transmission heat, the rear end heat, the engine heat, the brake heat, all of that radiates through the car. And for 20 minutes, you can't sit there with the fan on. You already heard Cole Custer complaining about the possibility of having an alternator issue. The last thing you can do is sit there and run the fan circulating air through your helmet. And so the drivers are extremely uncomfortable at the moment. And you add the pressure of trying to make the playoffs to that. And I think this is a time, Steve, that communication, even if you're talking about the football score or whatever, just communication to the driver to let him know he's not out there by himself.
I agree, right? You can't think he's the only one with a oar in his hand rowing this ship along. Now, while he's going to have to do the heavy lifting here, you know, this is the culmination of an entire season, a culmination of a playoff run.
You guys talk about the choose and picking the inside versus the outside. And now look at this racetrack down here on the back straightaway, but off into turn 3 and 4. The speedy dry, the oil laid down on the track is right where those right side tires are going to run if you are on the bottom of the racetrack. Now, to Jeff's point, we don't expect them to be on the bottom of the racetrack. That guy on the inside now has almost a built-in excuse for using everybody up down here in this corner. And it ain't going to stick. You know, you're going to go down there and you're going to slide through that and up the racetrack you go. So this could end poorly for it could be a problem for you on the inside. Look at that speedy dry. It's everywhere. You covered this racetrack.
And on the exit of the corners, I feel like the left side tires could be on the outside car on the exit of the corner. So it'll be a challenge for both.
Yeah. It's just going to be a completely different racetrack when these drivers, they haven't seen it. So when they fire up and roll off, it's nice and clean in 1 and 2. They got some stuff on the back straightaway. But when they get to turn 3 and see what's in store for them on this final restart or this restart that's coming up, might not be the last. And certainly judging by this racetrack and how much speedy dry and oil is on it, we got some built-in cautions coming.
And that's why it's taking so long to clean up. So much fluid was put down on the racetrack, and so they're working diligently. You look back on the number of cautions over the last 7 years, 7 races that they've been racing here since 2020. And today, 15 cautions. Went back April of 2022. The only race over the last 7 races that has had more cautions than today here at Martinsville. Dave?
Wow, that's a big number. Let's check in with Ben Bayshore. He is crew chief for John Hunter Nemechek, who locked in earlier. So I'm wondering, with this 20-minute delay, are you thinking about Phoenix? Are you thinking about what can he still do here? What are you thinking about?
Just trying to talk through the scenarios on the restart here. If certain cars pick top or certain cars pick bottom, where should we pick? Trying to give John Hunter some information on who's got to win, the point situation, and just try to guess what's going to happen here, which probably something that we don't even conceive of is going to happen. So I expect to get pretty crazy here when we go back green.
What kind of a relief is it to you, though, that you are through and that you don't have to deal with the reality of what might happen here?
Yeah, a big relief. We gave up our track position early to do it, which kind of made it a long day towards the middle of the race, but took a gamble. We're all sequence on tires, so fortunate to be able to hang on up front with these sort of rapid-fire cautions and keeping the tires cool, kind of bail us out on that. So hopefully we come out of here with the car in one piece, and we'll go to Phoenix and race them from there.
Yeah, there is that. They would like Detroit to come home in one piece, right?
Smile there on the crew chief's face. The reason why all of this fluid is down is because of this accident that happened on the back stretch. The big pile-up. Multiple cars involved and a lot of fluid put down.
No, I don't do the modified series at all. I still have a full-time job, during the week, so it's even kind of hard for me so far through the summer and stuff to stream races during the course of the week when there is races during the week. We haven't seen that many like on Thursdays anymore because of the lack of Saturday night races. We had a Bristol race on a Thursday night earlier this year. I was actually there for that one, so I ended up requesting off anyway. But regardless of the fact, we do have live streams during the week, but they're on the video game side of things, not with actual races. But live commentary for the Truck, Xfinity, and Cup Series races every weekend, though. Definitely a lot more video game stuff to come during the winter time, obviously, with no actual racing going on. At least on the NASCAR side of things. I expect maybe 2 to 3 green, white checkers. I don't know. I hope we just have one. We get these, 2 laps in or however many we're going to have on the restart, and that's it. Who do I have winning the title next week at Phoenix? Oh, geez. I'd like to wait to see who the championship for is before I make that pick. The pre-playoff prediction was for me picking, who did I pick in the Cup Series side? I think I took William Byron, I believe, in the Cup side. Marty Snyder standing with Sam Mayer, who has exited the infield care center.
One team.
Yeah, obviously the qualifying effort wasn't very good yesterday, so that really put us behind, and then I got damage under caution because I'm kind of an idiot, but we'll learn from it. I learned a lot about myself and my team today that we can fight through adversity really easily, and we were sitting top 15 with a race car that shouldn't have been rolling still, so our accelerator Camaro was fast today. We just couldn't get the right track position with the right amount of tire. The tire fall off, and the package we had here today was a ton of fun to drive. It was beating and banging, getting runs up off the corner. It was a lot of fun, but we were just a little bit short. But having the Miami win feels really good because I can put a smile on my face and go to Phoenix next week.
You mentioned running into that car under caution. You kind of explained to me how it happened. Explain to the folks at home.
Yeah, what it looked like is because I was trying to look ahead, but the safety crew's cut in front of everybody trying to get up to the wreck, and everyone just kind of checked up, and I was coming with a run under caution, but you'll have that. But yeah, it's just part of making mistakes, and it's good to make them this week and not next week.
How much of this week was your focus on Phoenix versus being ready for Martinsville?
Yeah, we probably put about an hour and a half into Martinsville this weekend. Obviously, Marty tried to build a car as fast as Xfinity 10G, but our brains already in Phoenix. We're ready to go to the desert.
And they will race for a championship next Saturday in Phoenix, Rick.
Yeah, the points, look how tight they are. With, again, Austin Hill out front, scored as a leader. And then Custer and Allgaier separated by just 2 points, Steve.
See if we can dial up. Cole. Hey, Cole, it's NBC Booth. You got a copy?
Yep, I got you.
Man, things are tight. A lot on the line. 6 to go. How aware do you want to be of the situation, or are you just trying to get every position here on the restart?
Yeah, we're going to be, when we get here, we've had a good observation for Mustang all day. Just got to get the track position here, Obviously, it's going to be, really, you don't even know what to expect on this restart. Everybody's going to be beating and banging, and you hope that you can just defeat park for you a little bit. But overall, I think we've done a great job today controlling the stages and putting ourselves in the right spot. Just got to hope it all turns out right.
All right, well, we're here. You guys are getting going, so we'll let you be, man. Good luck on this.
Thank you.
Fire the engines, and they'll run with the track cleaning crew around the track once the cars roll. Again, it is going to be a sprint. Right now, 6 to go. When they come back around, it'll be 5.
It's got to be important, Dale. We've sat here and kind of looked at where they put the speedy drive. I'm sure the spotters are explaining it to the drivers, but I'm sure you drivers yourself, you want to see this, really take in what the track looks like, the condition it's in. You don't want to see the first time at speed. Yeah, they're all going to be a bit surprised, maybe some disappointed when they see what's down here in turn 3 and 4.
I think if you're Allgaier, you love it, right? He's 2 points back. he needs to make something happen. I think that if you're him, you go down there and you're like, heck yeah, there's a lot of speedy dry down here. Maybe I can take advantage of it. If you're Austin Hill leading the race, I don't think it's something you wanted to see.
Over 28 minutes of a red flag, so they've been sitting there for almost a half an hour. Tires cooled off quite a bit, obviously, but the counter to that is the speedy dry that's all around the racetrack.
Yeah, brakes have cooled off, tires have cooled off, speedy dry on the racetrack. I'm not sure tempers have cooled off.
The field finally getting a look at this racetrack and what has gone on since they were sitting in turn one. Let's listen into Allgaier's radio.
So here's what I think is going to happen, just based upon a lot of history. A dozen times up here with two warheads on the front row get right where they are right now, and they wash each other up, and the 20 goes underneath the 21 on the bottom. Based upon where we are, and that's what happens, I'd line up behind the 20 and stay right on them and go with them.
So that's Eddie DeHaan, the spotter for Justin Allgaier.
It's going to be very interesting for me to see where John Hunter chooses. For him, it would be inside row 2. For Joe Gibbs Racing, it would be outside row 2. And give Sammy Smith the bottom. You know, you're not really giving him a position, you're not waving him by, but you're giving Sammy Smith the best chance to win this race.
I'm interested to see where Austin Hill lines up. I think that's the first decision that has to be made, right? And then if you're Creed, if Austin Hill picks the bottom and you're Sheldon Creed and he picks the bottom, Austin Hill better hang on getting into one, because there would be only one reason that Sheldon Creed would pick behind his teammate, and that would be to move him as soon as he got to the corner. If the 21 picks the bottom and Creed goes to the top, then Creed's just simply going to try to outrun him. That decision that Hill makes will force everyone else to make their decision.
Safety vehicles still on the track. We're a ways away from that decision. They're cleaning up just past the choose cone now. Still see the wreckers and different vehicles working their way around. The reason for, I'm sure, this caution is the full moon. Is that right, Jeff?
Oh, yeah. Every time we get this, we know what happens. Race car drivers on edge anyway. You get that full moon for some reason. It seems that always, for some reason, seems to get even worse. Let's listen to what Sammy Smith and his guys are talking about.
It still kind of looks full wet. It's not good. I can tell you that. It's not like, I think they just got tired of trying to work it because they couldn't get it picked up. Holy cow. It's just really dark. Or
So I will say this, guys. Drivers are never happy with the track cleanup. I mean, almost never do they say, hey, how's the track? And they're like, it's great. I love it, right after something like this. So it's a difficult evaluation for a driver, because oil does change the color of the racetrack. You can't tell sometimes if it's wet or if it's just staining the racetrack.
Trying to pick up all of the speedy dry. You see the jet dryers out there. They're pushing that speedy dry off.
And NASCAR's trying to do the best thing it can, and that's take time to make sure that they have this track as close to good as it possibly can be. But at some point, I mean, we've been under red flag for a long time. At some point, we've just got to go and get this race back underway.
Yeah, with the cleanup continuing, it looks like we could end up being in overtime. So I think that's the direction we're headed. There are 4 laps still to go before the distance we thought. So it's going to be overtime. We will be going at overtime. And again, the way the overtime rules work, you take the green flag. If they get back around, if the leader takes the white flag, then the next flag ends the race. If there's a caution before the leader takes the white flag, they'll try again.
I'd be working those tires in, I'd be trying to make sure that, not for heat or anything like that, but like you sit under caution, and any kind of debris or rubber or whatever you pick up that's now stuck to the tire, cooled off, and make sure those things are as clean as they possibly can be. Throttle it up a little bit, spin the rear tires, get those things good and sticky and ready to go.
Brakes as well. I want to get heated by brakes, so that way when I drive into turn 1, they're hot, they're ready to go. You would think that cooler brakes are what you want, but it's not. These brakes are designed to operate with high heat. You need to drive that heat into them right now.
Any predictions? Can you make a prediction? What's going to happen with, especially to start off with the RCR cars?
Then we're going to do this again. There's no way we're going to see a clean lap here.
I don't know that any of us would get it right. You know, the crew chief said himself, like, we went through all the scenarios, and what's going to happen is probably something we haven't thought of.
Watching Richard Childress there, can you imagine how many races he's watched and things that he's seen through his career as a driver, also as an owner? Won championships with your dad. He's done a great job of finding a way to stay relevant as the sport has changed around him. He has changed with it. He's done a great job as a car owner for a long time, and he really likes Austin Hill, really appreciates him, feels like he can be with this company for a long time, and this is a chance for Austin Hill to get to Phoenix with a chance to win a championship. But Richard's seen enough things go bad. He knows it is nowhere near being done.
Track cleanup crews now focusing their attention on the backstretch.
Lights are bright. Even they put lights at this place, it truly became like America's short track. It's like every Saturday night short track all across the country.
Marty, what about Cole Custer?
Rick, we've talked about the voltage issue for the 00. Is there a further problem? Listen to the radio just now.
Here, but when I tried to cool it down, like everything in the car shut off, like it had no power. It turned right back on. But maybe a little nervous. Like, you had to turn it hot or what?
So, Steve, he says the voltage is jumping all over the place on the dash for Cole Custer. They've told him a couple of times, turn everything off in the car you can. All your driver aids, turn everything off. Let's make sure that it can make it to the end. But, you know, this should be an overtime finish. Hopefully just one for the 00 team. But are you concerned if you're Jonathan Toney?
Well, absolutely I'm concerned. You can see the concern on his face. He's shaking his head in that lower area, in that lower camera. Jonathan Toney's the one kind of blocked out the second in line on the bottom. At this point, I make sure, hey, listen, I know it's running hot. Don't worry about cycling the engine. Don't worry about shutting it off. We've seen people lose positions, because the car doesn't refire. We can't afford that. Now it's all about just getting this thing to the finish.
Some teams switch the gauges so you can actually turn the gauges off in case there is a short in the gauge or something. And if they have the ability to do that, I'd just say, hey, just turn them off. Like, there's no need in us looking at them anymore. There's nothing they're going to do about it.
And we've heard drivers say, I'm hearing something, I'm feeling something. Is this driver being a little bit nervous too, knowing that he's only 3 points above the cut line?
Well, there's that, but I mean, he's clearly seeing an issue in the gauges, and the car clearly cut off, so he's not making any of that up.
All right, Jeff, coming to the choose. You want to know what Austin Hill's going to do with this 21 car?
Hill and Creed will be making the decision right here.
Hill's going to the bottom, Creed to the top.
RCR cars will be side by side for the restart. The 20 of John Hunter Nemechek will restart on the inside.
Well, Sammy Smith chooses the bottom.
Basically took it.
So there you have it right there. Austin Hill on the inside of row 1. His teammate Sheldon Creed in a must-win situation to the outside of that first row. John Hunter Nemechek and Justin Allgaier in row 2. Row 3, Sammy Smith, Cole Custer. First attempt at an overtime restart, and we are about to find out who the championship 4 will be. We know Sam Mayer and John Hunter Nemechek will already be racing for a championship next week at Phoenix, but who will be the next 2? Austin Hill has to beat the 7 by 1 position, the 00 by 4 if he does not win this race. Green flag back in the air. Nemechek to the inside as he gets shuffled out of line by his teammate Sam Smith. And that's going to allow Justin Allgaier to get to 3rd. Cole Custer to 5th place. Sheldon Creed to the back bumper of his teammate. Shoves him into turn 3. Is going to look to get underneath him, but he can't get the drive off needed. Hill holds on. Hard into the wall goes Allgaier off turn 4 as he blocks the 20. Trying to hang on to third. Creed using up Austin Hill all the way through turns 1 and 2. Side by side as they drag race and bang fenders into turns 3 and 4. Creed's going to have the lead at the other end. Allgaier all over the 21. The 21's hard in the wall, and they're drag racing to the line. Justin Allgaier is going to win as there are hard hits behind them coming to the line. Justin Allgaier wins the race, and about every car in the field is junked. Oh my goodness. I can't even describe what just happened there. Austin Hill is not going to make it to the championship 4, and neither is Sheldon Creed. Hill's car's absolutely destroyed. Jeb Burton took a hard hit to the inside wall as well there towards the end. Still ended up finishing 9th. Nemechek's car's on fire. I didn't think I did a great job commentating the finish of that because there was so much going on at once. And for the second year in a row, we have seen teammates cost each other of a championship 4 spot in the round of 8 finale at Martinsville. Custer's car is on fire too. I think Custer still made it to the championship 4 somehow. 19th place. He did finish ahead of Austin Hill. He's coming out with a smile on his face. I think he knows that he did make it. Cole Custer makes it to the championship 4. I didn't see by how many points, but he did beat Austin Hill. Obviously, Justin Allgaier wins. He advances. Sheldon Creed second by a nose, doesn't get it. After using his teammate up for almost the entirety of those 2 laps. And that keeps Austin Hill and Sheldon Creed out of the championship 4.
Doesn't get a great start. Goes in side by side with the 2 behind him. The 20 slides up. That allows the 7 clear into third by himself.
Now Creed is into the back bumper of the 21 car. Gets him sideways. Now he drives underneath him. Now he's alongside the 7 into the back of the 2 of Creed.
Watch the 7 right here into the outside wall. That bends the right front wheel on the 7, so he's wounded. Out in front of him, the 2 in the back of the 21. They're going to go down the back straightaway. I think Austin Hill's trying to get back behind the 2. He wants to lift here, get back behind the 2, probably get right back in the back bumper. Right there he does. He gets spun around. The rest of the field comes through.
2 RCR cars battling hard. Allowed the 7 of Allgaier to win this race.
And the crash behind him. You see Allgaier nosing out ahead of the 2 car. Sammy Smith in third, but the crash behind him, man, there was a lot of hard hits for a lot of drivers back there.
So the question now becomes, how is it scored? We saw the 7 clearly take the checkered flag under a green flag condition. At some point, the yellow came out where there were cars still short of the start-finish line. So those will be frozen. Then they have to untangle who was in the wreck. The reason Custer on the timing screen looks okay is because he backed his car across the start-finish line, triggering that lap. But that doesn't, by no means that that's official. NASCAR's not going to have to untangle all this and figure out all the points.
See Austin Hill disappointed. He talked to us this week about having to come here many times in the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series and walk away disappointed, and again falls short with an opportunity to get into the championship 4.
There's Sheldon Creed.
And Sheldon,
wondering how close he came to being in the championship 4 and getting his first Xfinity Series win. As Allgaier's about ready to climb out of the hatch.
Sheldon's fingers all gloves are off. Everything was on the table at that point for both those drivers.
Helmet in the air, painted by Daughter Harper. And Allgaier's going to race for a championship. Dave's down there with him.
Could you even have imagined it with where you sat with just a couple laps to go, Justin?
No. Hit it on Jim Pullman. Both of those guys kept telling me it's not over. And it got us so good. You fans that came here today, coming to the start-finish line, I don't think I saw a single person sitting down, and I just was hanging on and trying to go as fast as I can. I hope everybody that crashed on the front straight was all right, but this Hellman's car has been lights out all year. It's been as fast as Xfinity 10G for sure. I cannot say enough about the Hendrick Engine Shop, everybody at Chevrolet, all of our partners, Hellman's, everybody at Unilever, Brand Fresh and Agriculture, Hello Water. We got a shot at going for a championship in Phoenix. My wife drove in today. My daughter's last softball game was this afternoon. She said she got to watch the first. I got to watch the first one, and then she decided to come here to be by my side. And there's nothing like it. So this is an emotional one. I've wanted to win at Martinsville for a long time, and man, I've been on the other end of that too many times. And to be able to come out of here tonight with a win and I have a shot at a championship next week. Jim Pullman, what an incredible crew chief. He's done an amazing job. Pit crew was lights out. Heck, I don't even know who else to thank right now. This is incredible. Fans.
Yeah, baby, we going to Phoenix!
With another shot at the championship, Justin Allgaier wins today in unbelievable fashion.
And it's hitting Allgaier right now. How big of a moment this is in his career. At 37 years old, he's got a championship that he's going to be able to fight for. There's wife with it. A crazy finish here at Martinsville, but it was Allgaier who locks himself into the championship 4. We'll clean up the finish, find out who's the championship 4.
Yeah, there were cars that were still trying to race through that to get to the checkered flag that were piling in pretty hard into cars that were just sitting there stopped and wrecked on the front stretch already. Definitely a couple of hard hits there at the finish, but Justin Allgaier, we do know, gets the race win by inches over Sheldon Creed. I'm not sure what the actual margin of victory is. It's definitely not 37 seconds like it says on the screen. It was about maybe a half a car length, if that Allgaier beat Creed out to the start-finish line. Sammy Smith ends up finishing as of right now in third. Again, these results are unofficial outside of the top 2 because we know the race ended under green, but then the caution flag ended up coming out after the leaders got to the line, so I'm not sure exactly how they're going to organize the finish of this race exactly, which is why we don't know exactly if Cole Custer beat Austin Hill for that last spot. As of right now, it does look as if Cole Custer is going to be racing for a championship spot, but I guess we've seen crazy things in the past, so we'll have to stay tuned throughout the rest of the night, I guess, NASCAR media-wise, just to clarify that the 21 of Austin Hill is eliminated from any sort of a chance at the championship.
Sheldon Creed, who came so close to getting not only his first Xfinity Series win, but a berth in the championship 4, but it wasn't to be tonight morning.
Rick, let's chat with him now. You said earlier this week you would be willing to move someone, but in a respectful way. Let's talk about the move on your teammate. Was it respectful and was it fair, the multiple moves you made on him?
I don't know if it's fair, right? I don't like racing that way, and that seems to be the way that this race always plays out. Beat him on the restart here and gave him plenty of room. He just throttles up into my door there, and then had an opportunity to push him up off the bottom here. I got in the oil here, and the top rolled, pretty decent, and then did it again into 1. Thought we had it there coming to the checkered, but I don't know. Not proud of racing like that, but a shot at a championship 4. I didn't blast him. He's still with me. I drug right here to keep him next to me, and then we raced pretty hard here, and then I don't know who gets him here to 20. I don't know. I feel like I played pretty fair for the situation, and he's going to be mad, but it's for a championship 4 spot, and I want to fight for my guys all the way to the end.
Were you solely worried about your team, or did it cross your mind at all that might knock him out of the championship 4 as well?
Yeah, if I wanted to guarantee myself a win, I do what Ty did last year, and I spin him out into 1, right? And then I'm not worried about him at all, but I move him up off the bottom, enough for him to have a fighting shot here. I'm watching the replay again, and he has a fighting shot here. I can't control the 20 spinning him out in 3 and 4, so just proud of everyone. I wanted to fight for my guys all the way to the end and give them a chance at a championship here, and just so thankful for Chevrolet, Wheel, and everyone at RCR for my time here. It's been a learning 2 years, and man, just frustrating to go out like that, but proud of everyone.
Dave owning up to it. They did everything he could. Sheldon did everything he could to try and get the 2 team into the championship 4.
Well, and Austin Hill the same, tried to get his team in. It did not work out. Walk us through that final restart.
I spun the tires a little bit, and I overdrove my entry into 1 because I knew the 20 went to go low, and I didn't know for sure if he was on the inside. My spotter said he had to run, and then he didn't. So it wasn't cool of me to do what I did into 1, like driving him up the racetrack. But I still kind of stayed off of him. Then he just did not give me a chance getting into 3. And he didn't give me a chance getting into 1. Just showed me at the racetrack. I know he's in a must-win situation, but still, man, just uncalled for that to happen. And then neither of the RCR guys make it to the Final 4. It's just frustrating. Pretty excited for him to go to his next adventure at Gibbs, and I don't have to put up with him no more. I can have Jesse Love as my teammate. Hopefully he races me better, races me cleaner. Like right there in the middle of 3 and 4, I don't know what he was doing. He parked it in the middle of the corner, and obviously I blew the radiator right then and had no power off the corner. So just ridiculous.
All right, Austin Hill not advancing to the championship 4, Kim.
And Dave, as we talk about teammates frustrated with each other, Sammy Smith, we heard your frustration on the radio with teammate John Hunter. He had already clinched his spot. Walk me through the closing laps and what you felt like he should have done to help you.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of knew. They were telling me he wasn't going to make any enemies, and I asked him to choose the top if he wasn't going to do that, and I had a good run on him, and then he went to go block me next week, down to the bottom. So, he didn't want to make any enemies, but I'm very frustrated right now, and he definitely made one. So I'm not going to let that one go, and we'll see how it goes.
So does this carry over to Phoenix for you?
I wouldn't carry it over. I just I wish he would have raced me with more respect, and knowing if he's not going to do anything, I wasn't planning on wrecking him. I was going to move him like the 221 did, but I don't understand. So just thanks to Qualifying Jay, TMC, Allstate, Peterbilt Group, Pringles for being on the car this weekend, and we'll move on to Phoenix.
With how strong your day was leading 147 laps, how do you come to terms with not making the championship 4?
Very frustrating because I think we did everything right. It's just kind of typical for this race for what it brings, and there's nothing going on next week.
You saw how visibly frustrated Sammy Smith was with his teammate. We'll see again if that carries over into Phoenix next week, where John Hunter will run for a championship.
Thank you.
So they've updated the finishing order on the screen there during the course of those interviews. Justin Allgaier's margin of victory over Sheldon Creed will clock in at 32 one-thousandths of a second. Sheldon Creed ends up finishing, obviously, in second place. Sammy Smith with a third-place finish. Riley Herbst fourth, and Josh Berry will round out the top 5. Daniel Hemrick in 6th. Parker Retzlaff 7th. Anthony Alfredo 8th. Jeb Burton 9th. Parker Kligerman 10th. Lane Riggs in 11th place. 12th place finish for Raja Karuth. CJ McLaughlin 13th. Josh Williams 14th. Myatt Snyder 15th. Brandon Jones 16th. Jeremy Clemens 17th. John Hunter Nemechek 18th. Cole Custer 19th. And Brett Moffitt finishes 20th. 21st for Austin Hill. Blaine Perkins 22nd. Josh Balicki 23rd. Ryan Ellis 24th. 25th for Sam Mayer. 26th for Jeffrey Earnhardt. Chad Fincham 27th. Kaz Gralla 28th. Joe Graf Jr. 29th. Chris Hacker finishes 30th. 31st place finish for Connor Mosack. Brendan Poole 32nd. Akinori Ogata 33rd. 34th for J.J. Yaley. 35th place finish. Waiting on this update. 35th place finish for Ryan Sieg. Chandler Smith 36th. Devin Jones 37th. And Kyle Sieg rounds out the 38-car field in today's Dead on Tools 250. Here is Cole Custer after exiting Hinfield Care Center as he advances to the championship.
Like a crazy replay. First of all, are you okay? And walk me through the chaos of that overtime restart.
Yeah, it's just Martinsville. Everybody's just desperate, It's just one of those deals. The 18's trying to get his way in, the 2's trying to get his way in, and everybody's just trying to get all they can get. And we had nowhere to go. The 21 got spun, and I had nowhere to go. And we all stopped there, and I saw Austin trying to fire up his car, and I was like, I gotta get going here. And so I put it in reverse and tried to get across the line. Sorry, Doug, you hate that. We were not easy on his engine today, but
luckily he built some great engines that are very durable and great today. And I just can't thank all my guys enough. I mean, they've worked so hard and just gotten better throughout the year. And I'm so glad this is over. I mean, that was so. Under that red flag, my heart was beating out of my chest, just wondering what was going to happen. And but it's just amazing to be in the Final Four and have a shot at it. Can't thank Tony Stewart, Gene Haas Automation, Ford Performance, Roush Yates Engines, everybody who keeps this, everybody at the shop. I mean, it's just been awesome getting this deal better. And they'll have one coming. I think we'll have something for them at Phoenix.
You had the voltage issue and the car shut off on you under caution before you had the overtime restart. But as you're sitting under red, also with that, is that something you're anticipating? That level of chaos?
No, I mean, you're just hoping it goes smooth, and at the start of the race, we're overheating the motor, and then the volts start going down, and then the radio 1 went out under that red flag, so we had to switch to radio 2, and, just a lot of little things that, get your heart rate up a little bit, but we're able to stay calm and just do what we need to do and get to the Final Four, but I'm really proud of the day we put together, and got really good stage points, came from behind, and still got in.
And we'll race for a championship next Saturday, Rick. And remember, Phoenix in the spring, Cole Custer was the man on the pole.
And now,
Sammy Smith goes on to lead the most laps in today's race with 148 laps led. Justin Allgaier, who won a stage and wins the race, leads just 21 laps today en route to victory. Other leaders in this one would include John Hunter Nemechek, who led 54 laps in the final stage. Austin Hill led 22 laps today as well. Lane Riggs led 9 laps on restart. Sheldon Creed got a lap led in late. Cole Custer led 1 lap en route to clinching himself a spot in the championship 4, even with the 19th place finish. In total, we ended up having 8 drivers lead at least 1 lap in the race today. 15 lead changes total amongst those 8 drivers. 17 cautions in this one. 16 cautions in this race today. Obviously, that does count the crash coming to the checkered flag there, even though the race is already over, so you can kind of argue whether that was a legitimate caution or not. But 15 or 16 cautions, though, in the race. And obviously, overtime carried us 6 laps past the scheduled distance for today's race, clocking in at 2 hours, 43 minutes, and 45 seconds total time on the race today, and obviously a roughly 20 to 25 minute red flag period there before the overtime restart. Average race speed, a very slow 56.45 miles per hour. In this one, again, the margin of victory for Justin Allgaier today, 32 one-thousandths of a second over Sheldon Creed to punch his ticket to the championship 4 with a win. Wasn't it a must-win situation because of Cole Custer and Austin Hill getting caught up in that wreck and finishing further back, but obviously we didn't know that wreck was going to happen, and Allgaier was definitely on the brink of elimination up until coming off turn 4, getting to the lead by a nose there on Sheldon Creed late. So the 4 drivers advancing to the championship 4. Sam Mayer won at Homestead last week. Obviously, Justin Allgaier wins today at Martinsville. John Hunter Nemechek locked himself in on points at the end of Stage 2 today, and the final spot between Cole Custer and Austin Hill goes to Cole Custer. Hill had to beat Custer by 4 positions or more to get that final spot, finished 2 positions behind him in the running order, 21st for Hill, and again 19th for Custer there at the finish, unofficially, of course, but more than likely will stay official as we get into the night. Appreciate everybody tuning in throughout the course of this race today for the running of the Dead On Tools 250 at Martinsville. Our live commentary coverage for the NASCAR Cup race will begin at 1:30 Eastern tomorrow afternoon with our pre-race coverage. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you have not yet. We're up to 130 likes on the stream. Obviously hitting our goal of 100 there at the finish. And I'm not sure what we topped out at concurrent viewer-wise, but definitely one of the highest for the Xfinity series so far this season. Thrilling finish down the stretch there. It was hard to break down that finish. It definitely wasn't my better call. I'd have to go back and listen to it again later tonight. I'll probably end up putting out a video with my commentary and the highlights of the finish. But, I had never seen something like that with the scenario that we had for the points getting into the championship on the line under this current playoff format. Definitely something new, something wild, and there was so much going on at once there. I was trying to break it all down for you guys the best I could those final 2 laps. There was a lot going on. Wild finish, though, to say the least. Have a good rest of your Saturday night. I'll see you back better than ever tomorrow. Again, road to 5,000 subs on the channel, trying to get there before the end of the season after next Sunday's finale at Phoenix. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and still hit that like button if you haven't done so yet as well. See you tomorrow afternoon, everybody. Have a good rest of your Saturday night.